But first, homeowners, when is the last time you checked your home title? Scammers are targeting your equity with just a single forged document they file at the county. So don't wait until it's too late. Find out if you are already a victim today. Please go to HomeTitleLock.com and use promo code BILL to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. On this Monday, inflation in America, relatively tame, running a bit lower than 3% for the year, despite all the tariffs and fear and loathing on the part of the anti-Trump critics. Now, in my life, inflation is combated. What does that mean? So I don't buy stuff that I feel is overpriced. I simply, even if I want it, I simply won't buy it. So I go to the grocery store, and I do occasionally go, or into a restaurant, and I look at the menu, and if the cheeseburger is $30, I'm not getting it. In fact, I probably won't go to that restaurant. That's the harbinger. If you look at the menu online, and all restaurants have them now, and the cheeseburger is over $25, you're getting ripped off. Don't go. That's an easy barometer. The point is that American consumers control inflation. The restaurants, the grocery stores, the gas stations, everybody can charge what they want. With gas, it's a little harder because there's price fixing there. But with items that are competitive, like clothing and food, shop around. Don't get ripped off. And if you got to go without something that you want, do it for the good of the nation. That was the spirit during World War II. There was rationing then. Now we can all fight inflation by not being saps. Back in a moment. Bill O'Reilly here. If you are stuck in a timeshare you no longer want, my friends at Lone Star Transfer can assist. Over the past 15 years, the family-owned company has helped more than 30,000 owners break free from their timeshares. They'll provide a guaranteed solution to exit your timeshare. So please call Lone Star Transfer 833-594-0079 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Let's get the day started right. This is Mike Ferguson in the morning on NewsTalkSTL.
Okay, done deal. $9 billion of federal spending has been cut. Good start, kind of a drop in the bucket. We're going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder about that at 7:35. Among the things I want to ask him about, can we get more of those rescissions? And next time, can it actually make a big difference? You got a question for the congressman? Send it in. Email me or send me a note on social media. Let us know what you want us to ask Bob Onder at 7:35. Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. On Friday, we had a visit with our friend Tony Lovasco, former Missouri state representative, just kind of going over a lot of the big news stories that are happening right now, because I always love his small L libertarian tinged view on things. And I thought he had some really, really good insights. Here's what he had to say, and we're going to start with those cuts in federal spending. I mean, seriously, why does government go crazy like this? Tony, you've been in the appropriations process. You voted on budgets at the statewide level. And so when you look at $9 billion of rescission spending cut, the Senate passes it, the House passes it, president's likely to sign that today or tomorrow. Okay, $9 billion is a lot of money compared to my budget. I don't know about yours, but compared to the overall federal budget, it's not that much. So how excited do we get that they're cutting $9 billion in this one package?
Not excited, not at all. So forgetting our own personal budgets, let's compare it to Missouri's budget, which I think was 47 billion, something like that. Yeah. It would be a notable cut in our budget, but when I was elected in 2019, our budget was like $28 billion. So it's not even as much as the state of Missouri's budget has grown in 6 years. Oh. We're trying to say it's a massive win to cut the entire federal budget. This is symbolic. This is a attempt by the administration to show that they're serious and looking at maybe one day doing a thing. And that's great. I'm not going to discourage that. And certainly Congress has not done this for 30 years, basically. It was 1999, I think, the last time one of these bills passed. So, yes, it's a step to show that they are actually paying attention to the fact that this is something the American people care about, but it does nothing.
Morning, Tony. Gabe here. Another disappointment kind of coming out of the White House, for me at least, is this whole Epstein Files thing. Now it's a hoax, and we're being told to move on and not talk about it and focus on the political agenda instead. What do you make of this whole debacle?
This is very confusing. I don't understand politically what Trump and his administration thinks they're winning by this narrative. So first, they kind of make this big thing about, the files are on Pam Bondi's desk. We're going to release them. They do this big show with the fake binders and the social media people. And then, we need some more time. And then they get some more time. And then now it's like, they're not real, but maybe they are real, but it's a Democrat hoax. And they keep shifting the goalposts here for no discernible benefit to them. There's a couple of possible scenarios here. Either the files are real and they're incriminating, and that's problematic for various folks, or they're not real, or they're not incriminating. Any possible combination, I think I might believe. What I don't believe is why they continue to seem to make the choice to make it look worse for them each step of the way. Yeah. It seems to me that there's a great demand to see this information. Whether or not anyone believes that it's the real or complete information, I think is unlikely, but release what you got, let people take a look, and they can make their own decisions. It seems pretty simple.
Yeah, 7:35, I've got a lot of thoughts on this, especially now that, to Gabe's point just a second ago, that we're being told, first of all, after apparently those of us who are saying, no, I want transparency, I want the spotlight to sanitize whatever's out there, being called foolish and stupid and all that kind of stuff. And so I've got some thoughts on that, because now the messaging is stop talking about it. We need you to focus and help the administration on other things, but stop talking about this. That doesn't go over well with me. That rubs me the wrong way in so many different ways.
Oh, absolutely. I think the point here is that people have taken this as a flashpoint that they do not trust their government yet again on yet another issue of public significance. Well, the way that you handle that if you're in government, go away, don't look behind the curtain. Mm-hmm. That's the exact opposite of what you want to do. It really just perplexes me, especially because when you really put this together, if we really are to believe that there are people in the Trump administration that are somehow implicated, there really is a cover-up, well, they're not going to release anything that's going to implicate them anyway. They're going to redact it. They're going to change it. There's going to be people they don't like on there, and their friends aren't going to be on there. Like, that's how these things work. And so the reality is this is all for show on both sides. But if they don't want it to dominate the conversation, if they don't want it to distract from their agenda, then at least pretend to give the people what they want. We're not going to know any better, right? And so it's just perplexing that they're fighting it.
Shifting to Missouri, hard left Proposition A supporters want to bring the paid sick leave mandate back to voters after what was passed was repealed. This time they want a constitutional amendment so Republicans can't repeal it again. So what does it say about our referendum/initiative petition process in Missouri?
Yeah, this is fascinating to me.
Yeah, we're right back to this again. I've lost count of the number of conversations that we've had regarding how pathetically easy it is to change the Missouri Constitution, the foundational document of our government here in Missouri, through a process that has no legislative oversight, that has, quite frankly, no editing. Half of these proposals that have made it into the Constitution have serious structural issues. A lot of them don't make any actual sense. They contradict other things that, may or may not still be in effect. We rely entirely on the courts to determine how things are going to go. It's a bad process. It needs to be reformed. The legislature, while I was there, made several attempts at trying to reform that process, make it a little bit more of a mandate to get something in the Constitution. Unfortunately, as you guys know, that has failed. The current legislature has made basically no effort. This last term, I didn't see anything hitting the floor of either chamber that would put a proposal to the voters to modify this. And so we're going to keep playing this game cycle and cycle over and over again, where the legislature battles with the activist groups and the out-of-state interests that fund these incredibly expensive campaigns to mess with our Constitution. And it's going to be whack-a-mole until we do something about it.
Yeah, we're visiting with former state representative Tony Lovasco. And I mean, you've been there. You've been, like you just said, you've been in these debates. You've been in this fight to make the reforms and with the initiative petition. Is it overly simplistic or incorrect to say right now in Missouri, if you have enough money, a special interest can buy its own constitutional amendment and write its own regulations for its own product or industry?
Oh, absolutely. We've seen it happen several times. We came dangerously close a few years ago for the first time that the medical marijuana thing came before the voters. One of the proposals that only was rejected because there was a couple on the ballot at the same time, and that wasn't the one that got the most votes. There was one that literally would have put in our Constitution one specific guy in charge of the program.
His name's Brad Bradshaw. He literally tried to write his own name into the Missouri Constitution. Yeah.
The fact that that's possible is pretty scary.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so now we're in a weird position where we want to repeal and replace the horrible Amendment 3. But if we get initiative petition reform done in this coming legislative session, that endangers our ability to save lives and make Missouri pro-life again. So is there a solution in 2025/2026 right now?
Well, sure. I mean, for starters, I reject that statement. I don't think that initiative petition reform interferes with our ability to save lives and to repeal Amendment 3. It's very simple. Any proper initiative petition reform needs to treat the legislature differently than citizen or activist-led initiatives. The legislative process is the process by which things should become law, whether that's statute or the Constitution should be amended with the approval of the voters. And so any proposal by the Missouri legislature ought to have a lower threshold for passing by the people than something that just some group comes up with. And that's because we are a republic. We have representatives that ostensibly represent the various types of people throughout the state, the different communities, different economic classes. Those people vote on the proposal, and then the people are just given them their last stamp of approval. That's completely different than when you and I just get together in the afternoon, we write some stuff and file it to the Secretary of State's office and collect some signatures. That is a completely different process that requires much more vetting and a much higher threshold for acceptance before it goes in the Constitution.
I don't know.
If we did it that way, solves all the problems.
Tony Messenger is not going to like that. I'm just saying, you're going to get a bad op-ed from Tony Messenger in the Post-Dispatch by saying that.
Wouldn't be the first time.
True.
All right. So, obviously we've got plenty of time before the next session. There'll be some, veto session stuff. And, I know they're talking about maybe another special session. But one of the things that I am glad to see, at least a performative assembly of a commission last minute or so we've got, Tony, is looking at property tax reform and capping and some kind of property tax relief in the state. What's realistic to get done? And is that the same thing as what should get done? I mean, there's the ideal and then there's the possible. What can we get done in Missouri?
I think short-term ideal is fixing the mess that's in Jackson County, dealing with skyrocketing assessments within one or two assessment cycles, dealing with maximum caps where you can't have a huge windfall because all of a sudden the economy changed. Those are things we could get done pretty quickly. What should happen? We should eliminate property taxes. They're the worst kind of taxes. Governor DeSantis in Florida was correct when he made the same proposal, which is that, you shouldn't have to rent your property from the government. And that's what you're doing when you have property taxes. Nobody likes taxes. Taxes are bad. I certainly do not, relish the idea of raising some other tax in order to get rid of property tax, which is probably what would have to happen practically. But the reality is how we're taxed matters just as much as how much we're taxed. And it's something we have not looked at and paid nearly enough attention to.
All right. Once again, you got a question for Congressman Bob Onder, send it to me now. I may be able to put it into the program. Send me a note at Rumble in the chat box or on Facebook, or you can even give us a call or send us a note through the app as well. 314-912-1019. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
News, analysis, opinion.
Don't always agree, but in love listening to your radio station. This is tyrannical stuff they're doing.
Elections have consequences. This is 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Hey, folks, Jamie Allman here for Newstedter's Fine Jewelry right there at Doherty Ferry and Big Bend. WowDiamonds.com. It's Wow Diamonds for a reason. These are beautiful lab-grown diamonds. They are gorgeous. They will blind you when you walk in and see them, but that's a good thing. Great engagement sets, wedding sets, all these beautiful God-created gems, sapphires, rubies, you name it, garnets, and also all the gold you need, and the famous bull of a watch, WowDiamonds.com.
People ask all the time, who the heck is Low Cost Airlines? Well, we're not just one airline. When you're talking to us, you're talking to everyone. We are the discount supermarket for all airline tickets. Plus, we have all the airlines and always have the best prices. American, Delta, United, plus all the specialized international airlines and a lot more. And we make it easy. We guarantee you'll talk to a live human in 60 seconds. You can have the rate you need and have your trip booked in 5 minutes. Now, how cool is that? And remember, when you're talking to us, it's like talking to every single airline available with one fast phone call. All you need to do is call and find the best prices to fly wherever it is you want to go. So are you ready? Call Low Cost Airlines right now. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. 800-515-2397. That's 800-515-2397.
Get up, St. Louis. It's Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Russia, Russia, Russia. You remember that? Yeah, I mean, that kind of came and went, and it was a big political divide. And basically, even those who were not big Trump people at the time in 2016, 2017, 2018, looked at the whole Russia interfered thing and kind of rolled their eyes at it. Well, over the weekend, going into the weekend, Tulsi Gabbard announces that she's releasing like 100 documents or 100 pages of documents confirming that it not only was a hoax, but she says a hoax driven by Barack Obama and his lieutenants, political lieutenants. What's interesting is the story dropped on Friday, which is typically when big news stories are released, when you want to downplay it a little bit, which I doubt that Tulsi Gabbard wanted to do, but I just thought it's interesting because that came out, and I generally try not to check in too much on the news on the weekends until Sunday night. But I see that Saturday, I see it Sunday. I'm like, that's kind of a big deal for the director of national intelligence to say, I've been investigating, and a former president ran what she called a years-long coup against the following president. That's kind of a big deal.
See,
You're misremembering things. The Russia collusion was actually also Russian disinformation.
Oh, right,
yeah,
right,
so
right.
if you believed in that,
Exactly,
it's because they made up
yeah.
a story about No, this is long overdue. And yeah, to your point, even the people that I know that are Democratic leaning, when they heard about this, they were like, "Well, some things are not really making sense." And then you had what was it, the Mueller report, the
Durham report was
yeah.
the big one. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
and that basically now things need to be done. So I guess we'll see what what happens next.
Because it was funny at the time. I remember at the time, of course, a lot of people on the left and this would be the supporters. And Hillary Clinton was running one of the most god awful dying duck sort of campaigns. I mean, she couldn't get excitement on her side at all. And she's running this just horrible campaign, and they're trying the Russia thing. And I remember someone trying to make that argument to me and that, Russia was interfering because social media was pushing this really hard, Russian disinformation, Russian cyber attack, Russian all this. And they're like, well, clearly they want Donald Trump to win. And I go, guys, would you look around? If you're Russia, why would you want Donald Trump to win? When your choices are Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, if you're Vladimir Putin, why would you, especially at that time, why would you want Donald Trump?
Yeah, and a lot of people seem to forget that it was actually under the Obama administration that started to rewarm relations.
Right.
And we're having meetings with them and that were being televised. Meanwhile, President Trump was saying, look, like, these are not good people. We should not be funding. And then I heard people talking about the Russia, Putin's puppet narrative this time around. It's like, look at President Trump's sanctions on Russia.
Yeah.
He has not done a single thing I can think of that it would explicitly have benefited Russia in any way.
I mean, there were some, I think he's mishandled the Ukraine-Russia thing a number of times, but he seems to be coming back around to the right side on this. But for the most part, he's not been a friend.
No.
And so I wish he were less friendly to them than he is now, but he's been pretty hardline on them. So none of it made any sense. It was just puppet, repeating what they heard out of the kind of leftist, basically meme makers.
Now, I also want to point out that during the presidential campaign this time around, Tulsi Gabbard was put on a no-fly list and was also being accused of being a Russian puppet. So,
which by the way, that accusation turned out to be false. She was also accused of being really hot. That accusation turned out to be true. Yeah.
But so just be careful with, pay attention more so to how the Dems are going to try to spin this as it goes forward, because I can imagine at some point they're going to start saying, well, see, Tulsi is a Russian puppet and she's the one trying to prosecute. It's like, no, this is justice overdue. Hopefully. And I don't like the weaponization against political opponents, but.
Okay. So let me jump in. Is it justice overdue? Because what it comes down to is what's going to be done with the information, because she's using words like coup and seditious. I mean, these are some heavy loaded words. These words mean something when they are coming from very high ranking people. So then the question comes down to what happens with it. She is referring this to the Department of Justice. Will they do something with it? Because unless there's a prosecution, is that justice overdue?
That's a very good point.
Yeah, because at that point, we confirm. Of course, the left is going to say, "Oh, it's just the Trump administration saying." Okay, so did we just bring up the old argument, or is this an actual step toward justice? Let me get right to the spoiler. Barack Obama is not going to be arrested.
Probably not.
He is not going to be prosecuted. But will there be some sacrificial lamb who worked with him that they'll toss under the bus to throw a little bit of meat out there to people like us? And for honestly, the whole Russia thing had kind of been put out of my mind. There's been so many other things that have gone in, but when she put this out going into the weekend, I thought, well, first of all, that's interesting. Secondly, she's hitting really hard. And I've got a soundbite from her a little bit later on. I mean, really, really hard. So what do we do with it?
Now, when I say justice overdue, thank you for clarifying that as well. I 100% agree as well. Just like when President Trump last time was saying, well, Hillary, we're going to put you in jail.
Right.
And then he said, well, it's not a good look if you put the wife of a former president in jail. But sometimes justice is beyond a reasonable doubt. Here is actually case closed, that this is actually what happened. And that would end a lot of narrative. Now, you're not going to convince the people that want to latch onto that, and that they're going to look at this as just, Trump mobilizing justice, the
weaponizing. I thought you were against weaponizing.
Yeah. So there are going to be those people out there. But I think for anybody that was on the fence, including our friends on the left that have common sense about them, this is going to be one of those moments where it's like, here is actually definitively, this is it, and put it to rest. And I think that is a form of justice.
Now, I don't typically say this. This is really unusual for me to say, but maybe the federal government can learn something from the people of Illinois.
Oh,
because Illinois has this really nice tradition in politics of sending former governors to prison.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's not unheard of to do something like that. I've got a bizarre thought on that, and that is, if you commit crimes, maybe you should be held accountable.
What a radical idea.
It's weird. I know. All right. We'll go into more. We'll go into more on this a little bit later on. Some of your thoughts on that. 5:55 going on 5:56 right now. By the way, if you haven't been outside the house yet, it's kind of a monsoon again right now. Good night. Oh my goodness. It's raining a lot. And I just looked at the map a little bit ago, and it looks like it's going to stay that way for at least another 2 or 3 hours. So we're under a flash flood warning for much of the metro area. Now, we have seen the damage that these can do over the last 2 or 3 years. I mean, and there's no part of the area that's immune from that. Eureka gets hit. Brentwood gets hit. Maplewood, part of it gets hit. North City already struggling because of a damaged infrastructure from the tornado. We've seen this in Chesterfield. We have seen what these flash floods can do. If there's an area that the Enright neighborhood in North City, that can get hit. Somebody was killed there a couple years ago in a flash flood. If you know that the areas have been hit by flash floods in the past, be extra careful or just avoid it this morning and take another route to work.
Yeah, because people usually, at least in my experience, they will look at it more as flooding inside the house, or they will think about like the winds and stuff. But if you hit a puddle the wrong way that's deep enough, it can hydroplane you. It can stall your vehicle. So just be very careful.
And deep enough can be 1.5 inches.
Yes, it does not take a lot of water. No. So be safe. I know I got drenched coming in here.
Yeah, both of us did.
Yeah, Mike had a good laugh.
I drew just because I dried off before you got here.
Yeah.
Just walking out to my car, I was just soaked.
But we can feel the thunder in the studio right now. So just letting everybody know, be extra safe, and wear some boots today. Okay, it's gonna be one of those days. Don't get your socks wet.
Yeah, and then I think by 8:45, 9:15, something like that, the rain should have moved out. So we'll be okay after that. But there is a very real possibility of flash flooding. And then the rain's going to keep the temperatures down a little bit, but we're under an excessive heat warning for much of at least half the week. It might end up being throughout the entire week. So we've got the weather updates from our friends at KMOV throughout the morning. But when you're looking ahead to the week, take the excessive heat warning very, very seriously. Temperatures are going to be in the upper 90s by Wednesday.
Hey, Colombo here for Intervine, a great local company that has customers all across the country due to the quality of their products. Intervine has the best flashlights, lanterns, headlamps, and even batteries, including the new Monster 2000 Lumen waterproof lantern and the Sentinel 2000 self-defense flashlight. Our home and vehicles are full of great Intervine products, and right now you can shop their website and get 25% off your entire purchase just by using my name, Tony, as your promo code. That's promo code Tony at Intervine.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844 888-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefontaine, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at NewsTalkSTL.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. He's reached the 6-month mark of his first year in office, and President Trump's backers touting all that has been accomplished so far. They point to tax cuts and getting illegal aliens off Medicaid. There's also a border that's now genuinely secure and cuts in government waste, fraud, and abuse. The president writes on Truth Social, 1 year ago, our country was dead with almost no hope of revival. Today, the USA is the hottest and most respected country anywhere in the world. Cutting taxpayer funding to NPR and PBS among the president's accomplishments. Senator Dave McCormick says he claims the cuts will impact emergency alerts in times of need are bogus.
FEMA has a responsibility for emergency broadcasting. Only about 10% of the budget from PR and public broadcasting comes from the federal government. So this is a specious argument. This isn't really the case, and this ensures that the taxpayers aren't paying to have a political message drilled down their throat.
The Pennsylvania Republican, a guest on Fox News Sunday. Police have a suspect, a 21-year-old Dominican national, in the ambush of a Border Patrol agent in New York City.
The suspect held in the overnight shooting of an off-duty Border Patrol agent in a Manhattan park is in the country illegally. The New York Post is reporting that the federal agent was shot in the face by an illegal immigrant identified as 21-year-old Miguel Francisco Mora Nunez, who tried to rob him. The Department of Homeland Security says Mora Nunez, an illegal immigrant from the Dominican Republic, crossed the border illegally in 2023 and has a long rap sheet, including 4 arrests in New York City, where he was released without bail each time. Tasha Stevens reporting.
The dog days of summer persist. Excessive heat warnings posted for a large swath of the country's midsection. On Wall Street, the Dow futures up 92 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Dennis Prager here for AmFed Coin and Bullion. I've always been a strong believer in precious metals investment, and I've always been fascinated with rare coin collecting. But owning the wrong coins that only make dealers a lot of money can be catastrophic for your investment portfolio. AmFed Coin and Bullion specializes in taking people out of non-performing coin portfolios and turning them into gold, silver, or platinum bullion. They tailor a portfolio based on your goals and not what they want to sell you. You'll never experience scare tactics, misleading hype, or high-pressure sales from owner Nick Grovich and his very knowledgeable staff. They will evaluate your portfolio, show you how your coins have performed, and take the time to educate you on the ugly industry practices so that you can make an informed decision. Smart people can make very bad investments when they're under pressure and lack the facts. Call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. AmericanFederal.com.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL brought to you by Chris Cooper and Serenity Wealth Management. Discover little-known strategies that could be the difference between choosing the care you deserve or having someone else decide it for you. Get a free copy of Chris's book at serenityltc.com.
This is Mark Harder with RE/MAX Results, the #1 RE/MAX franchise in the region. As a licensed real estate broker with RE/MAX Results for over 20 years, I've seen the ups and downs of many real estate markets, including the one we're in right now. With the spring market in full swing, now is the time to leap into the buying or selling of your home. Someday is not a day. Today is the day to make your move. Call me at 314-852-8933 or email me at markhardersells@gmail.com.
Experience the true flavors of Mexico at Dos Primos, O'Fallon's premier Mexican restaurant. From sizzling fajitas to homemade caldo de pollo, every dish is crafted with the freshest ingredients and traditional recipes, all made fresh daily in our kitchen. Cool down with our famous margaritas or your favorite cerveza, while our friendly staff makes you feel like family. Dine in or carry out. Visit DosPrimosMexicanRestaurant.com or find us on North Main in O'Fallon.
News, analysis, opinion.
Isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country?
How the mayors in these sanctuary jurisdictions are dealing with it, that's interesting.
Safety is our primary concern.
101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Mike Ferguson.
We the people.
Gabe Phifer.
It's not rocket science. Rocket science.
Mike Ferguson in the Morning on News Talk STL.
All right, it turns out that the Russia collusion hoax was a hoax. No way. Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Should anybody, Obama, be prosecuted for it? We'll get into that here in just a second. Sorry,
They can clear my throat. Yeah.
My throat. Yeah. Also, when both Planned Parenthood and public broadcasting are crying, something's going right in the world.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, precisely. All right, and the Cardinals played baseball games over the weekend.
Yeah,
that's the most positive thing I can say about that headline. 6:06 right now. Let's go ahead and get the week started with the news dump.
The Morning News Dump.
Are you joking? Is this a joke?
Listen, folks. The Morning News Dump.
Okay, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, accusing the Obama administration of manufacturing and politicizing intelligence to create the narrative that Russia attempted to influence the 2016 presidential election. Senator Roger Marshall, he is a Republican out of Kansas, was on Fox News Live discussing that accusation.
There are new documents that are showing that President Obama was in the room, and they did this conspiracy working with lifetime people within the political agencies, within the FBI. There was a conspiracy to try to throw out this misinformation, to try to make this an illegitimate election.
Okay, so Gabbard says she is sending those documents to the Justice Department and referring that for possible criminal referrals. Meanwhile, Democrats obviously saying baseless claims. And then they want to talk about 2020, the 2020 report where some Republicans said Russia tried to help President Trump through social media. The Democrats are saying that they tried to help him. Of course, they found no evidence for that because
it didn't
happen.
happen.
Just didn't happen. And even if Russia did, it was ineffective. But I'm still trying to figure out how anybody thinks that Russia would have preferred Donald Trump to his opponents.
Seriously.
That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to talk about this in more depth here in just a little bit. The so-called big, beautiful bill, which to be sure has a lot of bad parts, is already having an impact with one of the good parts. Planned Parenthood in our region says they are being forced to lay off some staff members.
Good.
Yep. They are citing the temporary federal defunding of the organization through Medicaid as the reason. The cuts will officially take effect August 1st, although we don't know exactly how many employees the human butchery business is going to need to be firing. Normally, I don't rejoice when somebody loses their vocation and loses their livelihood. If you work at Planned Parenthood, I love the fact that some of these people are losing their jobs and losing their income. I hope they find themselves jobless and struggling financially for a long time for losing this.
Absolutely. I hope you have a oh gosh, I'm forgetting the story. The guy in the pigsty moment from the Bible.
Oh, yeah.
The wayward son.
Prodigal son.
Prodigal son.
Prodigal son.
I hope you find a prodigal son moment as you're lying in the pigsty of your broken life, and you realize that maybe killing children isn't a great vocation.
Precisely. So they're laying off administrative staff, but this is going to affect, it looks like, both sides of the Planned Parenthoods, both sides of the river, and in other parts of Missouri in particular as well. All right. One of Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyers is calling on the Justice Department to release additional investigative records from its sex trafficking investigation. Attorney Alan Dershowitz is also urging the government to grant Epstein's former girlfriend immunity so that she can testify about his crimes, meaning Epstein's crimes. He told Fox News Sunday the grand jury transcripts that have been requested for release by the Trump administration really aren't going to say that much.
The Department of Homeland Security says agents.
That is the wrong one here. Here's the one that I'm looking for.
The information that hasn't been requested is going to be far more informative and far more relevant than the grand jury information. Grand jury information is narrowly tailored by prosecutors only to provide sufficient evidence to result in an indictment.
And of course, the president says, yeah, release the grand jury transcripts, but he wants everybody to stop talking about the rest of it. And we know there's a lot more information out there.
Yeah.
All right. President Trump says he is not interested in Federal Reserve Board independence. This is interesting, and it's got a lot of people in the economics and political world debating.
As an independent agency, the nation's central bank is allowed to make monetary decisions free from political pressure. But President Trump, who is extremely unhappy with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, said he only wants a chair who would cut interest rates.
We have a lot of people that want that job very badly, and I'm only interested in low-interest people.
Last week, financial markets were rattled by reports that Powell might be fired, but they recovered after the president said removing the chairman was highly unlikely. Greg Clugston, the White House.
It is possible for the president to remove the Federal Reserve chairman, but it's got to be extreme circumstances, which frankly, we don't have right now.
The one avenue I would really like to see, that would affect the removal of the Fed chairman would be the dissolution of the Fed.
Yeah,
but that's a whole other story. That's a
yeah,
whole other thing.
Exactly. By the way, Jerome Powell was nominated to chair the Federal Reserve by President Trump in 2017.
Yeah.
This is actually President Trump's pick, and he's just regretting that pick. All right. A key member of the Biden administration is actually multiple members, possibly, of the Biden administration are going to appear on Capitol Hill this week to testify before the House Oversight Committee as the GOP investigates former President Joe Biden's use of the auto pen, or his administration or his lackey's use of the auto pen. We don't really know who.
Yeah.
On the big weekend show on Fox, House Oversight Committee Chairman Congressman James Comer says there was an effort to preserve the former president's policies even after he left office.
They're using and citing some of these executive orders as reason to throw out President Trump's agenda and President Trump's executive orders. So they tried to Trump-proof the administration on the way out the door.
And of course, this investigation is all about essentially at its core, the former president's mental decline while in office and who was actually making the decisions and whether or not that auto pen was used to, frankly, forge a signature. I mean, if you use it the right way, it is what it is. If you abuse it, then it's forging a signature on documents that carry the authority and the weight of the president.
Right. And in that case, we're talking about a white collar coup.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We've got a little bit later on regarding illegal immigration, but let's make this really human again here. So ICE has rearrested a Mexican illegal alien accused of decapitating a missing Illinois woman and storing her body in a container filled with bleach. Jeez. So here's the story. This is out of Fox 32 in Chicago. This is reporter Dane Placo reporting on what happened.
The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez at a market in Chicago, and he remains in ICE custody. They say he is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Now, you remember back in April, Mendoza Gonzalez was charged with concealing a corpse, abusing a corpse, and obstruction of justice in the death of Megan Boss. Police in Waukegan found Boss's body in a container in Mendoza Gonzalez's yard. She'd initially been reported missing back in March.
And then immediately after his first court appearance in Lake County, Illinois, Judge Randy Bruno released Jose Mendoza Gonzalez from custody.
Oh my gosh. What can we do about these people? See, this is the thing that I'm not the illegal immigrant. We know what we need to do with those guys.
Right.
What can we do about these judges?
I mean, this is J.B. Pritzker's Illinois.
It's ridiculous.
This is what you're getting with that. I mean, what can we do about it is elect better people.
Yeah.
And elect other people. Any other people are probably going to be better than what's running Illinois right now.
How do you defend that?
That's the thing. And the left is passionate about defending this type of person. Okay, the Cardinals are off to a really lousy start to the post All-Star part of the game, part of the season rather. They got swept by the Diamondbacks in Arizona over the weekend. The Cardinals were the game of the week on Fox on Saturday and got beat 10-1.
Oh, it hurts.
Oh, man. The final score on Sunday was 5-3. Birds start a series with the Rockies in Colorado this evening. First pitch is at 7:40. Games on FanDuel. So here's the deal, guys. The Cardinals have dropped back to fourth place in the division. They are now 8.5 games behind the Cubs and the Brewers.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, who are now tied for first place.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. Mike Ferguson. Gabe Phifer. Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
The Herzog Tomorrow Foundation provides private school tuition scholarships through Missouri's new Most Scholars program to cover the cost of accessible, high-quality schooling.
Hi, this is Myella Esser with the Herzog Tomorrow Foundation. Our private school tuition scholarships wouldn't be possible without the support of generous Missouri taxpayers. If you're a Missouri taxpayer interested in redirecting your tax dollars and sending them to Missouri students in need of a better education, please contact me at herzogmostscholars.org.
Better education for students creates a better tomorrow for all. Learn how you can help provide a better education for Missouri students at herzogmostscholars.org. That's herzogmostscholars.org. Also, sign up for The Lion, an initiative of the Herzog Foundation that carries articles covering a wide range of issues facing American families and culture. herzogfoundation.com. That's herzogfoundation.com.
Getting new flooring can be exciting, or it can be a hassle. To make sure you have a great experience, use Michael's Flooring, like I did. Hi, it's Susie Moore, and Michael's Flooring has become my go-to for quality, variety, and an all-around great experience. They've been locally owned and operated for more than 30 years. Carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, natural stone, luxury vinyl, it doesn't matter. Michael's Flooring is ready to help. 3 locations to pick from: St. Peter's, Darting Prairie, and Creve Coeur, or online at igotfloor.com. That's igotfloor.com.
Concerned about the condition of your windows driving up your energy bills? I was too. It's only called STL Windows and Doors. Their Provia windows combine old world craftsmanship the professional way, the Provia way, with over 65 years of combined experience, locally owned, offering competitive pricing and personalized service that the big box companies can't match. Call today for your free in-home estimate and start saving tomorrow. 314-277-5952 or stlwindowsanddoors.com.
Hi, this is Jefferson County Councilman Billy Crow with a reminder to check out our new show, Jeffco Patriot Radio, this and every Sunday at high noon. Now, back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
All right, quick little baseball quiz here, guys. I know I'm the baseball guy. But still.
Gosh, you're going
to. Okay, this is a multiple choice question.
Okay, so
all right,
hopefully easier for me.
Which baseball team is capable of selling out an entire stadium for both days of a series at Busch Stadium? Is it A, the St. Louis Cardinals, or B, the Savannah Bananas?
Oh, I know this one.
Oh my goodness. Busch Stadium was hopping over the weekend.
Oh man. Yeah.
2 complete sellouts of over 44,000, almost 45,000 people at both games.
Like a legit sellout.
Complete sell. There were no tickets left available, standing room only. And the Cardinals were in Arizona. They were about as far away from Busch Stadium as you could possibly be. And Busch Stadium was sold out twice. because the Savannah Bananas were in town. I did not go to the game. I actually had my own game on Friday. I did watch a good part of Saturday's game because the Bananas live streamed it. And Busch Stadium was rocking. Holy cow. People were fired up like we have not seen in a long time at Busch Stadium. They were having so much fun.
So the most popular baseball team in St. Louis currently was the Savannah Bananas.
Yes. And it was a lot of fun to watch. Now on Friday, of course, I think everybody's heard what they did on Friday, because they always do the surprise guest player, and you never know who it's going to be.
Right.
And so what they'll do is they'll wait. There's like 2 outs in a particular inning. Then they'll bring on somebody who's pitching, or they'll wait to a certain situation and bring on, if it's a hitter or whatever. They've had everybody from, former players on different teams. Like at one point, like pro wrestlers have shown up. I don't know, but they needed the pitcher to come getting out, and so Adam Wainwright pitched on Friday.
No way.
Yeah, they brought Adam. So
All right.
So Adam Wainwright's final appearance on the mound in Busch Stadium was in a Savannah Bananas uniform.
Okay,
and he got a guy to fly out.
That's good. That's good stuff right there.
Oh, it's fantastic stuff. And then Isringhausen was he came in and was the guest pitcher on Saturday, and I was watching when he came out. We're like, man, he hasn't played for 10, 12 years. And so, and remember these Bananas and the party animals guys, these are legit athletes, and legit baseball players. I mean, they are good. And Izzy threw one pitch.
Yeah.
And the guy hits a line drive right to second base, and he was done. That was it. Out. He was done.
Okay.
He was thrilled about that. So this was the makeup game, because the Bananas were supposed to play back in April, but they got rained out.
Right.
And so these were the makeup games, but it didn't, I don't think it's lost on anybody that the Cardinals have been drawing at times less than 10,000 people, typically, 13, 14,000 people. Basically the stadium is 2/3 to 3/4 empty.
Oh yeah.
Even other teams and other broadcasters around the country are talking about
they're remarking on
weird that is for St. Louis. The Savannah Bananas come up, and can you guys name a single player on the Savannah?
Of course
Bananas?
not.
No, you can't. 44,800 and some odd for both games. Each game over 44,000 people.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, I
love that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's and I always kind of relate them to the Globetrotters, right? It's like they're the baseball Globetrotters.
Yeah.
And it's really awesome to see the types of shenanigans they can get up to out on the field, and it's fun. It's just fun. And I think that's what a lot of stadiums have been sorely lacking recently. Is fun.
Yeah, well, and especially Busch Stadium. I mean, honestly, when was the last time we really connected with what was happening on the field? And that was when Wayno and Yachty retired. And they retired together. I was at the last game of the season. I was at Wainwright played another season after Yachty, when Yachty and Pujols retired together. And then when Wainwright retired the following year, I was at Wainwright's last game. I was there. And so that was the last time we really connected with what's happening on the field. And by the way, Adam Wainwright is now doing color commentary for Fox Sports, and he's getting really good at it.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, because a lot of times, because that's a whole separate skill.
Yeah.
It's my bucket list. I want to do that. Even if it's just one game, I want to call a game, but I'm nervous. Like, I don't care if it's like some live stream where 10 people are watching. I'll still be nervous because that's a whole other thing. But it's really been fun listening to him because he's got such great insight into the game. And he's very, he puts it in a way that makes everybody kind of understand what's going on.
I'm always impressed when athletes can make that change.
Yeah, because
that's really a big deal.
Yeah, because others do shop talk.
Yeah.
Because the language that we will use in our fields of passion, we've got different languages.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just assume the audience knows more than it does.
Right.
But he doesn't do that. He does a really good job. Okay, so here's another sports thing. And I didn't even know that the WNBA had their all-star stuff over the weekend.
The who?
Right, exactly.
Oh, right. Oh, that's right. Yeah,
I don't
there
know
is
what-
a yeah. There
I
is a
don't
WNBA.
know where it was. I
Okay.
don't know where it
Yeah,
was
yeah, that's
held.
right.
Because I don't care.
Oh, I think I saw something.
Okay, but here's why people ended up talking, because they wanted to be like everybody talking about their league.
Mm-hmm.
Well, be careful what you wish for, ladies, because everybody was talking about him over the weekend, because the players, I guess, in the warm-ups for the All-Star game, they all wore these T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us."
Right.
And one of the players, whose name is Angel Reese, I guess she's like the villain of the WNBA.
Yeah,
she's
currently.
the one who keeps punching Caitlin Clark, I guess.
Well, she's figuratively punching it. Yeah, she was the rival coming out of college between those two.
Okay.
Yeah, and she's terrible.
She's quoted. Yeah, I've heard people say she's just a bad basketball
She's
player.
not a good basketball
I don't know.
Well,
But
she's also literally, I've seen like the highlight reels of her like pulling on her hair.
Oh,
like,
now she is a dirty player.
Yeah.
I mean, she has at
Both
times
literally
yeah.
and figuratively.
Yeah.
I mean, it's well, like Shane Gillis, that comedian,
Mhm.
he did the ESPY Awards, and one of his jokes was, whenever Caitlin Clark retires from the WNBA, she can go work at Waffle House, where she can continue to do what she loves to do, which is get into fistfights with black women.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Yeah, so
He's not wrong.
and so people know more about that,
Oh,
because
yeah.
apparently what's happening, let's just call it what it is.
Mhm.
Obviously professional basketball is, what, 85, 90, 95% black players.
Yes.
In both the NBA and I'm assuming
And
the
the
WNBA
WNBA, yeah.
as well,
Mhm.
and college basketball.
Mhm.
And Caitlin Clark is the star.
Yes.
She's the only player that most people know anything about.
Yes.
And the players have made it very clear they resent that.
Yes, they don't like her.
And so they become
yeah.
very racist and violent.
Yes, absolutely. I've seen some of the highlight reels of plays against her, and it's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And the other half of it is that the refs won't do anything about it. It's something to watch. It really is. And the fact that she still is as dominant as she is as a player, it's kind of it's very much. And I don't like making this comparison. She's very much a Jackie Robinson figure in WNBA.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm just saying,
and in an ironic way.
It's in the most
funny.
ironic way I can think of. I'm not taking anything from what Jackie Robinson did, but really, she faces a lot of racism and a lot of dirty play against her. Like, everybody is against her, and it's almost entirely a racialized.
Oh, it's completely racial.
Now I'll say this though: what they actually hate about her is that she brought a lot of excitement and attention to the WNBA while they are still background characters.
Yeah.
Like, she has become the main character of the league. They do not like having any dominant players. Like, they don't like the idea of a singular dominant player to bring attention to the league. Like
Michael Jordan.
Like Michael Jordan.
The day,
yeah. I mean, they do not like that, and they racialized it because, of course,
So let's talk about how
Oh my
stupid that is.
Okay,
So what
yeah.
led to this weekend?
Yeah.
So they put these shirts on that say "Pay us what you owe us,"
Mhm.
and that was I was over at the Post in Fenton on Saturday night with some friends, and they were showing some of those highlights. I saw those T-shirts. I'm like, what in the world's going on with this? And so apparently the players are about to do a collective bargaining agreement.
Of course.
So there's a players union of the lady ball players,
Mhm.
and they're demanding, one of them, I mentioned Angel Reese, because I saw a headline that says that she was quoted as saying, "We should be making NBA money at this point." Okay. She actually said that. Hence the mockery.
Wow.
Here's the thing: is it didn't take much for people to dig into the numbers.
Yeah. Actually do math.
The WNBA loses around $40 million a year. They have never even broke even.
They've never made a profit.
The NBA subsidizes.
Yes.
Basically, the NBA is the sugar daddies, for the WNBA.
Yep.
And so,
have been since the beginning of the league, like 20 something years ago.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been around, because we've been ignoring it that long, because it's a lousy product.
It's not very entertaining.
And if you say, well, that just shows, sexism in sports. Wait a minute. Women's tennis does just fine.
Yes.
Now,
of course, according to Serena Williams, it's actually a different game than men's tennis.
She's actually, yeah. And women's, tennis does very well.
And it's still very entertaining.
It's very, frankly, I would almost prefer to watch the women, because it is a different game, and it's much more of a net game than the men, who just kind of is a power game.
Power game from the back
on TV
back
is
line,
kind of boring to watch after a little bit, but the women are like charging the net,
doing
cutting
a lot of
movements,
movements,
a lot of angles, and that sort of thing.
Kind of a chess.
Yeah,
chess
I think
game
it's more of a chess
on the
game
court.
with the women, and so I actually enjoy that
Mhm.
more.
True.
But it's funny because they're like solidarity. We're talking tough, and I'm like, okay, if you're going to get paid what you owe and you lose $40 million a year,
You just divide that by the number of players.
divide that by the number of players, and you need to cut a check. Oh, wait, you make $40,000 or $50,000 a year,
Right.
for your game, because that's why Brittany Griner went to Russia, because
You can make more money over
Yeah,
there.
well, because they
and
have
the,
to
and, the,
supplement.
and the money goes further over there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, unless you get accused of bringing drugs in, you end up in prison. But that's what was so funny is the entitlement, because the WNBA decided to go super left.
Yes, sure did.
And it's like, okay, as one of the articles I saw, I think it was Red State, was like the WNBA players thought that becoming even more insufferable was the right play. So I wish I'd thought
Yes,
of that headline, but
absolutely.
I didn't.
That's a good one.
But that's the way that it really worked out. But it just shows you this entitlement.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you see some of the arguments on social media. It's like, well, they're doing the same job. It's like,
No, they're not.
they're losing $40 million.
That's not the same job.
The NBA has seen their revenues basically drop. If it weren't for the Chinese market,
Mhm.
the WNBA would be in danger of starting to operate in the red.
Yeah.
Because people have abandoned them as well.
Mhm. Yeah, their salaries are going to have to start getting cut too.
Yeah, which I can see that across the board in all of pro sports. And I got no issue with that. And I'm a sports guy, but I saw that. I'm thinking, first of all, nobody knows who you are. There are how many people around the country were like, oh yeah, there is a WNBA.
Right.
You know why we don't care? Because you guys aren't entertaining. You're not delivering a product. When people get used to their local good high school team, it's better than the professionals there.
Well, you know what is entertaining is all this discussion about Russiagate again.
Yes.
I'm actually entertained by this.
Oh, yeah.
Now, did Barack Obama shadow run a years-long coup against President Trump? That's the accusation, and we're talking about it at 6:35.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
He picked the wrong schoolyard to come into, I have to tell you this.
On News Talk STL.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. We keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Ozzie Smith ready for the flip, and we're ready to start the season. Here we go.
This is Cardinal Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith, and I'm flipping with excitement over the giveaway on Thursday, July 24th. That night, 20,000 fans 16 and older will take home the first ever legendary backflip bobblehead, featuring me, courtesy of Phillips 66. Don't miss the flipping awesome giveaway. We can't wait to see you on Thursday, July 24th. Secure your tickets and learn more at cardinals.com/promotions.
Hats off to family fun on Sunday, July 27th, when the Birds host the Padres. That day, 20,000 fans, 16 and older, will get a City Connect Throw Pad courtesy of Quick Trip. And thanks to Haichu, 10,000 kids ages 15 and under will take home a Cardinals hat with custom charms. Upgrade your and your kiddos' game gear. Snag your tickets today at cardinals.com/promotion.
This is Alec Burleson, St. Louis Cardinals, for the Lou.
Dude, ready to shred your taste buds? Hit up Do Shaggy's, the gnarliest 90s skateboard anime-themed restaurant in St. Peter's. Our scratch-made Shaggy OG double smash burger with grilled onions and house-made Shaggy sauce will blow your mind. Plus, our epic cheesesteak mafia on garlic bread. It's totally rad. Fresh everything, beef gallo fries, and kid-friendly options, too. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 to 8, Sundays, 11 to 4. Do Shaggy's, 429 South Church Street, St. Peter's. Come get stoked and get fed.
From home improvement to replacement, do-it-yourself electrical projects can be
Shocking. That's where Grasser Electric can help. They've been lighting up St. Louis for years. From ceiling fans and dimmer switches to repair or replacing your electric. No job is too big or too small for your home or business. Grasser Electric will even install emergency backup generators. So call Grasser Electric today before the sparks start to fly. 636-441-5200 or go to grasserelectric.com.
On the next Larry Connors USA.
With every Larry Connors USA program, you're going to get news, analysis, opinion, and education.
Larry Connors USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Chris Arps from the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Make sure that you're listening to our show this afternoon from 4 to 6. Now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show.
All right. Most of us have known for years that the Russian collusion thing was nonsense.
Yes.
And that's how I've looked at it as nonsense. I mean, when it first, and keep in mind, I've never been, I didn't vote for Donald Trump in 2016. And I was a Rand Paul guy, and then he dropped out. Then I voted for Ted Cruz. And so, even when all that came out in the 2016 and 2017 and all that, I just rolled my eyes. I'm like, how does anybody buy this? How is anybody believing this? And then, social media was behind it, and they were pushing the story that, Russia influenced the 2016 election. And I didn't understand how any thinking person on the right or the left could actually believe that. It was just, none of it was logical. None of it made any sense.
That whole thing was really weird. It was kind of surreal watching a discussion about something so obviously fake.
Right. Exactly. So now the Trump administration says they have the proof and they are releasing details. Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, was on Fox on Sunday Morning Futures with Maria Bartiromo. And here's part of what she had to say.
The effect of what President Obama and his senior national security team did was subvert the will of the American people, undermining our democratic republic and enacting what would be essentially a years-long coup against President Trump.
Okay, so those are some big words.
Those are huge words.
Right, because
especially coming from a DNI.
Right.
Director.
Exactly. So what she is arguing is that the Obama administration manufactured intelligence to create the narrative that Russia was trying to influence the 2016 presidential election. And she says that she is referring those documents to the Justice Department, and then the DOJ will have to decide whether or not to prosecute anybody. So
now this is in addition to the stuff we already knew about, right? Because we'd heard some of these things that, first of all, the original Russia dossier, the Steele dossier was kind of a fabricated document.
Then the Durham report kind of,
and the Steele dossier was used to get a FISA warrant and then, spying during the campaign. We had heard that stuff. So this is in addition to all those things.
This is basically picking up where the the Durham report, basically left off.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people, I honestly hadn't thought about the Russian thing, because to me it was so obviously silly.
Yes.
That I just kind of moved on, because God, how many scandals and things have we had since then that have taken our attention?
Lots of gates.
A lot of gates. And so now she's saying that she's going to place. Now, spoiler alert, nobody's arresting Barack Obama. And he's not going to be prosecuted.
No.
Now, will they throw some sacrificial lambs out there?
Maybe.
If Pam Bondi decides to really pursue it. I think most people kind of moved on, rolled their eyes. The 2016 election, went Donald Trump's way. And, basically, I think a lot of people on the right were like, yeah, your Russia thing was stupid. That was a hoax. Look at the scoreboard. You lost.
Right.
And it wasn't even so much that the country was so excited about Donald Trump. It's that the country looked at Hillary Clinton and went,
Yeah. It's like,
no,
I don't think so.
No. And then Donald Trump obviously had a consequential first term, and now he's had a consequential 6 months of his second term. But then
we're only 6 months in.
6 months in. Yes. It seems like forever.
It sure does.
But but when you look at the referral to the Department of Justice, I can imagine that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino are going to want to, have something to say about this, because they're taking orders from the president. Now, if crimes were committed, then absolutely prosecute them.
Obviously.
They want us talking about anything and everything other than Epstein.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say this also is that they kind of need a win.
Yeah.
And one of, again, if the underlying truth of the matter is what it is, the way Camelia Peterson put it.
Yeah.
That ultimately the idea is that we want accountability. We want the powerful to be held to account for the wrongdoings that they've committed. We want the people who try to act against us to see some justice. If that is actually the point, getting a win here would go a long way to kind of helping us I won't say get over Epstein, but at the very least, we can balance it in our minds.
I still find it extremely weird that the party that keeps getting caught with actual CCP Chinese spies roaming around their offices, interning with them, sometimes in bed.
Literally in bed.
Are the ones that are also the ones continually pushing Russia collusion hoaxes and trying to make this out to be, I mean, I guess it would be a good diversion tactic for their own dirty mess,
here's the thing. We're smart enough to keep an eye on both the Epstein stuff and demand accountability.
True.
And the Russia collusion hoax and demand accountability. And, the auto pen scandal and demand accountability. There are so many. We can do all of those. We don't need to pick one.
True.
And so, will there be any criminal referrals? I don't know. My guess is, yeah. Now,
somebody's got to go down.
If you're holding out hope that Obama or Hillary Clinton or somebody's going to
high up
put in handcuffs, no, that they're going to have a mugshot the way Trump did. Don't plan on it. I don't think that's going to happen. And so whether they throw, I don't know,
some advisor,
Comey or somebody,
maybe
out there,
Comey.
yeah,
I don't think anybody as high as that. I don't think
so.
anybody we know the name of is going to get caught up in it. I think it'll be some random staffer or something like that at the previous version of the DNI or something like that. One of those people. They're the ones who are going to be made the sacrificial lambs if we get anybody.
Right, and they'll have they'll have some behind the scenes sweetheart deal. Say, listen, this is going to suck. You're going to get sentenced to 4 years. You're going to serve 10 months.
But then you write a book, we'll give you an advance.
That's right. We will pay you through that advance, or we will guarantee you a board of directors job, and then you can go, live in the Caribbean for the rest of your life.
We'll make sure the public libraries all buy your book so you actually make some money.
We know a guy, he had an island down there,
Oh, no.
No. God, it's 6:41 and I already did that on Monday morning. Sorry.
Well, so because this story kind of broke when I was busy doing other stuff, so I'm not fully up to date with all the details yet, which is why I listen to the Mike Ferguson in the morning as well. But so I remember going back as well, the 51 former intelligence agents that said, hey, this Hunter Biden laptop, which totally was legitimate. We know that now from the hearings with both the IRS and other whistleblowers, that and which totally potentially swayed the election towards Biden when they helped cover it up. I know that the repercussions were to remove their security clearance, but did they face any sort of legal back? Because I would say that should be the same vein as this. If they're going to be doing this about the Steele dossier, then they should do that for those people as well.
Yeah, the ones who covered it. I mean, politicians cover stuff up. I mean, now, but the difference here is that they use the pressure of the White House to tell media what to cover and what not to cover and how to do it. So then you get into, okay, that's dirty and unethical, but is that illegal?
Right. Now, I guess
it feels illegal.
It feels gross is what it feels.
Now, I always go back to, because whenever we talk about the gates, I go back to the original gate, Watergate, right?
Yeah.
And the whole idea behind that one was it was seen as a dirty, underhanded move by a sitting president to undermine their political opposition, right? And there are illegal things done in order to accomplish that. Now, of course, the illegal things done was, some random dudes who broke into a file cabinet somewhere in some office someplace, and that was,
and then Forrest Gump was,
and then Forrest Gump was there,
and he called in, and
he called in on the lights, from the flashlights. But so if that was big enough, if that was a bridge too far enough for a president to be involved in, even just a matter of when, what did he know and when did he know it sort of level stuff to cause him to step down from the presidency. Why is it that something that was actively, the president at the time was actively involved in using the apparatus of government, our intelligence services for crying out loud, and courts and all these kind of things in order to sabotage the incoming administration.
Yeah.
I mean, by that time, I think he had been elected, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So but
then they kept that going after he was sworn in.
Yeah,
in 2017.
the intention was to completely undermine his authority throughout the rest of the 4 years that he was going to have in office. Probably try to reduce those 4 years to maybe 1 or 2. How is it that using the force of the government and all of its resources is somehow less a big of a deal than maybe somehow knowing about some guys who broke into a cabinet someplace?
Because this is what we've accepted as normal in our politics, in our body politic, that we've accepted that this is just the way it is now. We've accepted this white collar warfare internally.
That's a good way to put it, by the way. White collar warfare. Yeah, because you can see it going back and forth too. And now on some level, you do have to, if you are the executive authority, you do have to use the apparatus of government to go after people who are doing bad things. Right. So I would not put it. Yeah, I would not call it a bad thing if the Trump administration used the Department of Justice and the DNI to go after these people. But that's because they did the bad thing by using the DNI and the Department of Justice to do bad things.
And it's important for the Trump administration and the Department of Justice to do it right. If they're going to drop the hammer, because what's the real point? Holding people accountable, yes. But then also making sure that the next time we have a Democratic president, and we will at some point have a Democratic president again, that they're not even tempted to try to do this against another incoming Republican.
Right.
Or Republican against an incoming Democrat. It's to try to, we're in an era right now where we have the choice at a crossroads. We have the choice. Are we going to rebuild ethical and constitutional barriers for both parties to stay within, or are we going to continue to deteriorate into this, frankly, white collar warfare that's consuming almost all of us?
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
My opinion is it's weird.
On News Talk STL.
Parents want more choices rather than fewer when it comes to their children's education. And now some Missouri parents will have one more option to get their children the best education available. Low-income students and those with disabilities in Missouri's largest communities can now apply for an Empowerment Scholarship Account, or ESA. With an ESA, the money the state would normally pay to your child's public school goes into an account that you control. You can use the funds for private school tuition, online learning programs, a private tutor, or other approved uses. You can tailor your child's education. For too long, Missouri officials have operated on the mistaken notion that parents only need one choice. They're assigned public school based on their address. ESAs put parents in charge. It's school choice at its best, with money following the students to the place that best fits their needs. Learn more at showmeinstitute.org. This Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
Dr. Randy Tobler here, and I know that when you're looking for a dentist, you have to make sure you choose a dental practice that's compatible with you and the needs of your family. Well, I'd like to tell you about my dentist, Dr. Dan Cusimano, and his partner, Megan Dwyer, and their team at Advanced Dentistry at St. Charles. The great team at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles can accommodate all of your cosmetic and restorative needs because their passion is general dentistry. Implants, crowns, bridges, even dentures. That what you need the most is what they'll provide in a personalized, focused way. And they can provide therapeutic and cosmetic options like Botox and dermal fillers. Get to know them and all they have to offer by calling 636-978-0226 or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com. That's Dr. Daniel Cusimano and Dr. Megan Dwyer at Advanced Dentistry of St. Charles.
That's Advanced Dentistry Now, 636-978-0226. Or visit them on the web at advanceddentistrynow.com.
This hour of Mike Ferguson in the Morning is brought to you by Stifel. Request a portfolio review from your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
I love that you're starting your day off right with Mike Ferguson in the morning. It's your boy Joe Pags. Talk to you tonight. But now let's get back to Mike.
All right, little Ozzy. That's a good way to start the day, always. Okay, so let's follow up on this Russia collusion hoax here in just a second. I tell you, we're going to talk about this throughout the 7 o'clock hour as well, when both Planned Parenthood and public broadcasting are a-crying something's going right in the world.
Yay.
Right. And the Cardinals played baseball over the weekend. That's about all I'm going to say about that. All right, 6:49 right now. Let's dump some news on here.
The morning news dump. Are you joking? Is this a joke? Listen, folks. The morning news dump.
See, notice I didn't say they played well.
Right.
I just said they played.
They just played.
They just said they played. Yeah. All right.
Which is accurate.
Okay. Following up here, Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard accusing the Obama administration of manufacturing intelligence to create the narrative that Russia tried to influence the 2016 presidential election. Senator Roger Marshall is a Republican out of Kansas, and he was on Fox News Live to discuss this.
There are new documents that are showing that President Obama was in the room, and they did this conspiracy working with lifetime people within the political agencies, within the FBI. There was a conspiracy to try to throw out this misinformation, to try to make this an illegitimate election.
So Gabbard says she is sending the documents to the Justice Department for possible criminal referrals, and meanwhile, of course, Democrats are saying, nah, this is all baseless. And they are pointing to a 2020 GOP-led Senate report that said Russia tried to help Donald Trump through social media, but found no evidence that votes were changed or machines were tampered with in the whole 2020 mess. So if you want to obfuscate 2016, get everybody fired up about 2020.
Yeah, that's how you do
that.
Mm-hmm.
So don't fall for the bait. Don't talk about 2020. If you want to talk about 2016 and you want accountability for that, then talk about 2016. All right. And Epstein. All right. The big, beautiful bill, which, of course, as we know, has a lot of bad parts, is already having an impact with one of the good parts, because there are good parts in it as well. Planned Parenthood right here in the St. Louis region says they are being forced to lay off some of their staff members.
Yay.
Yes. So they are citing that temporary federal defunding of the organization through Medicaid as the reason. Now, keep in mind that this defunding of Planned Parenthood is only for 1 year.
Right.
And then it's possible for the next 9 years unless Republicans grow a backbone. But for 1 year, Planned Parenthood is cut off of Medicaid. Those cuts are going to take effect August 1st, although we don't know exactly how many employees the human butchery business is firing here in the area. But this is the Great Rivers region. So we're talking about St. Louis, Fairview Heights, and basically all of the ones in Missouri. They are saying that they might around the country have to start closing some Planned Parenthoods, which would be fantastic.
Absolutely. That's the kind of the best we could hope for temporarily, that these would cause some closures. And if the funding comes back, or if it's allowed to come back, I should say, then it would make it more difficult for them to reopen these places and restaff up. But ultimately, like you said, the best thing that for the Republican controlled government to do would be to defund permanently. Like, just make it a law that you can't, use this fungible money for your child butchery operation.
Yep. All right. One of Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyers calling on the Justice Department to release additional investigative records from the sex trafficking investigation. Attorney Alan Dershowitz is also urging the federal government to grant Epstein's former girlfriend immunity. That's interesting. So that she can testify about his crimes. He, meaning Dershowitz, told Fox News Sunday that the grand jury transcripts requested for release by the Trump administration really aren't going to say very much.
The information that hasn't been requested is going to be far more informative and far more relevant than the grand jury information. Grand jury information is narrowly tailored by prosecutors only to provide sufficient evidence to result in an indictment.
Yeah, so President Trump said he wants the transcripts from the grand jury hearings to be released. And I think you don't have to be an attorney, I think, to come to the conclusion that Dershowitz had, is that what was unfortunate about that is that there's no call from the Trump administration to release everything. Right. And we are going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder about Thomas Massey's discharge petition that Eric Burleson's on board with. as well. So this needs to stay in the spotlight, and we need to keep the pressure on. Clearly, the Trump administration is reacting to the pressure.
Yes.
You know, they're not doing enough. I still think they're covering up, but they are reacting to it. And eventually we could get to some of the truth. I've lost hope that we're going to get to all of it, but maybe we could get to some of it.
No, see, Epstein is Russia disinformation, and
yeah, that's right.
You know, it's quite weird that they have a grand jury unsealing a document if it's all just a hoax, like President Trump said.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Elaborate.
Okay, so the Federal Reserve, in theory, is independent politically. President Trump obviously wants to change who's in charge because he doesn't like their policies. Here's the story.
As an independent agency, the nation's central bank is allowed to make monetary decisions free from political pressure. But President Trump, who is extremely unhappy with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, said he only wants a chair who would cut interest rates.
We have a lot of people that want that job very badly, and I'm only interested in low-interest people.
Last week, financial markets were rattled by reports that Powell might be fired, but they recovered after the president said removing the chairman was highly unlikely. Greg Clugston, the White House.
Jerome Powell was nominated to chair the Federal Reserve by President Trump in 2017, and obviously he's regretting that at this point because he does not like the approach that the Federal Reserve is taking with Jerome Powell at the head there. But with the Federal Reserve, which I'm with you and with Rand Paul and then Ron Paul, that audit the thing and then maybe get rid of the thing.
Yeah,
but
please.
That's never going to happen. But it's set up right now to be independent from the political pressures, for good or for ill. That's just the way it's supposed to be. All right, let's see here. Let's talk the investigation into the auto pen, because that's still going on. There's going to be more hearings on Capitol Hill this week before the House Oversight Committee as Republicans continue to investigate former President Joe Biden or his underlings' use of the auto pen. On the big weekend show on Fox, House Oversight Committee Chair, that's Congressman James Comer, says there was an effort basically to preserve the Biden administration policies well into and throughout the Trump years. And here's what we mean by that.
They're using and citing some of these executive orders as reason to throw out President Trump's agenda and President Trump's executive orders. So they tried to Trump-proof the administration on the way out the door.
So basically the response from the Biden camp is somebody who got into Biden's ear went, tell him that's not true. And he went, that's not true. So that's the official statement.
It's not true. That's it.
Yeah, because it's like, tell him it's not true. That's not true. Ice cream.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, pretty much. All right. In Illinois, the human side of the illegal alien debate is, why did that happen? Okay. In Illinois, we're seeing the human side of this because we're getting caught up on politics and policies and masks and doxing and all that sort of thing. But let's talk about what this is all about. ICE has rearrested a Mexican illegal alien who's accused of decapitating a missing Illinois woman and storing her body in a container filled with bleach. Now, this is a report out of Fox 32 television in Chicago. Dane Placo is the reporter here explaining what happened.
The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez at a market in Chicago, and he remains in ICE custody. They say he is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Now, you remember back in April, Mendoza Gonzalez was charged with concealing a corpse, abusing a corpse, and obstruction of justice in the death of Megan Boss. Police in Waukegan found Boss's body in a container in Mendoza Gonzalez's yard. She'd initially been reported missing back in March.
And then immediately after his first court appearance, Lake County, Illinois Judge Randy Bruno released Jose Mendoza Gonzalez from custody, even though he was an illegal alien accused of a hideous, hideous crime. That's why we fight this fight. That's why we stay on this. Cardinals got swept by the Diamondbacks. Basically, they got their butts whooped 3 times over the weekend. Cardinals have now dropped down to 4th place in the NL Central Division.
Kathy Connor from Connor Roofing is here. Kathy, how you doing?
Good. Hi, Vic.
You know, when you need a roof, I don't want to call a stranger. I want to call you.
Yeah, thanks. At Connor Roofing, we're more than just a roofing company.
How long you been doing it?
Since 1993.
And year after year, storm after storm, you guys are always there.
Because this is our home too, Vic. Our kids go to school with your kids. We cheer for the same teams. Go Blues!
So support your neighbors. Call Connor Roofing at 314-375-7475 or CONNER roofing.com.
Thanks, Vic.
Remember those magical moments in Mom's kitchen? The heavenly aroma of fresh baked cookies? At Trolley Stop Bakery in Chesterfield's Forum Shopping Center, our co-op of talented bakers has been perfecting that homemade magic for 4 decades. From the gooeyest cookies in town to custom pies, cobblers, and cakes, everything's made from scratch, just like Mom and Grandma's recipes. Need that perfect corporate gift? We ship our famous cookies nationwide. The Trolley Stop Bakery, 67 Forum Shopping Center, or TrolleyStopBakery.com. Because some traditions are too sweet not to share.
Hey, News Talk STL listeners, this is Levi, CEO of Reach Reproductive Health. There was a huge gap left when the biggest pregnancy center in St. Louis had to close their doors right after Amendment 3. But by God's grace and power, Reach has been able to step into that space. We have acquired Thrive centers and are continuing operations in greater St. Louis. I have a request for you. Would you pray and consider getting to know Reach more? We are here to see babies saved and families transformed by the power of Christ. Get to know us on our Reach community website, outreachforlife.org. That's outreachforlife.org.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. There could be a smoking gun in the Russia collusion case. National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard has produced documents reportedly showing that President Obama and high-level Obama administration officials conspired against President Trump in 2016. Gabbard says it's nothing short of what she's calling a treasonous conspiracy. President Trump calling on a pair of pro sports teams, one in the NFL, the other an MLB franchise, to drop their new names in favor of their previous ones.
The president Sunday posted on Truth Social urging the Washington Commanders to revert to the Redskins and the Cleveland Guardians to return to the Indians. He claims there is significant public support for the change, citing heritage and tradition. However, both teams have stated they have no plans to revisit the name change. The Commanders and Guardians adopted their new names in 2022 after years of debate. Jason Walker reporting.
The war in Ukraine grinds on, with Russia stepping up its attacks on its neighbor's capital city.
Ukrainian officials report at least 2 deaths and 15 injuries, including a child. This escalation comes as the UK and Germany prepare to lead a NATO meeting on military support for Ukraine, including advanced air defense systems like Patriots. The British defense chief is expected to urge Ukraine's Western partners at the meeting to launch a 50-day drive to get Kyiv the weapons it needs to fight Russia's bigger army and force Russian President Vladimir Putin to the negotiating table, according to a statement by the UK government. I'm Charles Dillades.
Air Alaska is getting back on its feet this morning following last night's IT outage. It grounded all of its flights for several hours. On Wall Street, Dow futures 94 points higher, and the NASDAQ futures up 53. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, I'm Brant, and her name is Sherry.
Hello.
She's a friend of mine whom we were just praying for because of a surgery she just went through.
Yes, and I am very happy about something you actually talk about all the time, which is
MediShare.
That is right.
Yeah. So what was your experience like with MediShare and the healthcare bills?
Honestly, Brant, seamless. And what a blessing that is when you're already nervous about a health issue, which I was.
Yeah.
Members shared my expenses. There were zero problems. And let me tell you, having people pray with you when you call in with your need, that is just...
It is refreshing.
Yes, that's what it is.
But I keep telling people, love MediShare and they love saving tons of money too. The typical family can save $500 a month.
I am very thankful for MediShare. It is so different, and I mean different in a very, very good way.
It is good different. Call now. They're easy to talk to and you can get a price within 2 minutes. Call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center,
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Planning your next adventure? Head to Landell EE Clothing Store in Wentzville and gear up for less. Whether you're hitting the beach or the slopes, we've got you covered at prices that won't break the bank. Find us at 12680 Veterans Memorial Parkway, just west of Highway A off I-70. We're open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Landell EE, where adventure meets affordability. Stop by today and discover the bargains waiting for you.
Are the days of a personal doctor gone? Not at Body of Health Direct Primary Care. I'm Dr. Randy Tobler to share how our design is putting the care back into healthcare. Plain and simple, our members, not insurance companies, get our exclusive focus. That means same or next day appointments, responsive answers to your concerns, and a no-spin, big tool chest approach. It's about time you get serious time devoted to your medical needs. To learn about healthcare the way it ought to be, schedule a discovery call today at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
Mike Ferguson.
You play ball like a girl!
Gabe Phifer.
I triple dog dare you!
Get up! Can't you hear the alarm?
Get up, St. Louis.
So it's time to get out of bed. Pour yourself the greatest cup of Kofifi the world has ever seen. Rise up with one voice. Drain the swamp and take back our country. Today's the day we're going to do it, and it's time to do it right now, believe me.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up! This is your cousin.
All right, there's plenty to critique in the big, beautiful bill, but there are also some things to celebrate in it, which we've been calling balls and strikes on this from the beginning.
Absolutely.
So let's do the celebration part of it for just a couple minutes.
Okay.
Okay. Some of the bad guys in our society are taking at least a temporary financial hit by being denied your tax money.
Yay.
Yes. I mean, we should celebrate the good part.
That's an absolute win.
And we should look at this. And then I want to use this as a way to make sure we are applying the maximum amount of pressure on Republicans for this. So Planned Parenthood of Great Rivers, which is the chapter here in the St. Louis Metro, they're whining about having to fire some staff members because of the temporary, and we're talking 1 year, temporary defunding of their butchery by those Medicaid cuts. So Planned Parenthood's been told now you don't get Medicaid reimbursements.
Right.
I'm trying to fight off a sneeze right here.
I hate
it when this happens.
Sorry. There it is. All right. Bless you.
I'm a radio professional. So I saw a couple different news outlets covering this morning, and Planned Parenthood of the Great Rivers branch here made the announcement on Friday. Once again, you dump the stuff on Friday, hoping people don't notice.
Right.
And so they say they have to reduce their administrative workforce, so they're not going to fire the butchers just yet unless they have to. So they're going to be firing somebody working in the front offices or
finance,
whatever it is. Yeah.
Whatever.
So they say the decision is to provide sustainability for the 6 centers across the St. Louis region and then throughout the rest of Missouri, basically the Ozarks.
Yeah, they're trying to keep the doors of the butchery center open.
Right.
And in doing so, you're going to end up with fewer administrative types. We're going to try to consolidate that.
So the CEO of Planned Parenthood Great Rivers is Margot Riphagen, is quoted, and this I think is Channel 5's story. It says, and I'm quoting, "Our doors remain open, ensuring patients can continue to receive the affordable, compassionate, sexual, and reproductive health care they know and trust from Planned Parenthood."
Yeah, I hate when they write anything. Like there's nothing.
Well, because
there's nothing they put down to paper that I don't have a visceral reaction.
Because we know that they're lying.
Yes.
The news release that they put out, basically they're saying this is affecting low-income people. Yeah, well, in the tradition of Margaret Sanger, the downtrodden is who she wanted to eliminate like weeds.
Yep.
So who are we really talking about?
Black folks.
Sorry, Planned Parenthood, you don't get to kill as many poor black kids.
Yep.
Is essentially what we're talking about.
That's their business model. That's the basis of it.
Yeah, well, and it's been very profitable for them.
Oh, yeah.
So the group says that if it's fully defunded of tax dollars, because remember, we're talking about basically a 1-year reprieve for taxpayers. Republicans originally were proposing 10 years of no Medicaid, and they caved on that, but at least limited it to 1 so that they can brag about it being defunding of Planned Parenthood, which is true.
Yes.
And I'll be really honest, I really appreciate Congressman Bob Onder pointing out, saying this is just 1 year, but we'll celebrate this. Because otherwise, I don't know that a lot of us would have realized that the funding could return in year 2.
Right. Yes. I appreciate him, kind of spilling the tea on that. And really, that's got to also prime us to hold our elected officials accountable, the ones we sent there to defund Planned Parenthood,
right.
Hold them accountable and say, hey, by the way, we want you to do this permanently, or at the very least have an extended run on it.
Yeah.
That 10 years would have been significant. That would have absolutely closed facilities.
Right. Well, and that leads to the next part of this the story here. And let me just read part of this article. The group, meaning Planned Parenthood, says that if it is fully defunded, about 200 Planned Parenthood, they call them health centers, in 24 states are at risk of closing. Okay, so if we can extend that.
Yes.
And we're talking about, this isn't even the majority. I mean, well, actually federal funding is a lot of their.
It's a big
It's
chunk.
a huge chunk. Closing 200 Planned Parenthoods would save tens, if not hundreds of thousands of lives. Period. I mean, it would be, Gabe's doing the search right now.
Yeah, I want to see how many there are.
And so it's what's fascinating about this is that if we, the taxpayers, are keeping Planned Parenthood afloat and they're panicking over 1 year of being cut off from one program, then that reinforces, regardless of what you think of abortion, taxpayers funding this. And when the retort is, well, but that's not all they do. I mean, abortion is just a small part of their own tax returns.
Yes.
Which are publicly available, show that almost all of their operations,
upwards of 90%,
are abortion. It's killing. Killing is their business, and business is good, to quote the old Megadeth song.
No, I'm not trying to steal Gabe's thunder with the statistic here.
Yeah, please.
I was also looking into it. So, according to a 2023 report from Guttmacher Institute, there were formerly, this does not include back alley type things, 1,026,700 abortions in the United States for just the year of 2023.
Which is probably the latest year we have.
Yeah, that with complete data. Now, so my thing is well, for those out there that are like, well, they're maybe a little bit more lenient when it comes to the death of the unborn. Plan B and those kinds of alternatives still exist. And the difference is that you have to pay your own money. We don't subsidize that.
Right.
I do not want my tax money going to anything that has to do with that. I would much rather, if Planned Parenthood could be the most celebrated thing if they were to switch and actually help you plan your parenthood and provide that money towards helping improve the lives of the child, instead of saying, well, you're poor, therefore you're not worthy of life, cut them off, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not what their business model is.
Nope.
There's no there's no money in that. Why do you think it's so hard for a group like Reach to be successful? Why, or a group like Birthright to be so successful? Is because it's hard. It is hard work to commit to a young woman and, when possible, the young man, and commit to that child,
to mentor them, to provide resources that extend for years and years and years, very often, right?
That is an ongoing commitment, and groups like Reach do that. Planned Parenthood wants to cash the check, kill the child, and move on to the next profit center.
Yeah, not only and might get a little graphic here, but not only kill the child, get a couple $100 from that, but get thousands of dollars for the harvested tissues that they can sell from that. And we talked about the exposure of that whole deal, and I'm still surprised. I'm shocked at how little coverage that got. I mean, and even among us, that should be one of the biggest scandals just in the public eye. that has ever come out of that whole discussion.
And that was another thing where the media ran interference because
They
the
sure did.
video was right there. I mean, it was right. They were caught.
Oh yeah,
by the undercover, O'Keefe types.
Yeah, laughing about buying a
Right.
Lamborghini off of the sale of fetus livers.
They tried to get those videos, basically put back underground through court orders, but they were already out there. And they also, when you looked at the media coverage at the time, they also would say things like, well, heavily edited to make it look like. I mean, so the media itself, and by the way, we're going to talk about public broadcasting in 720 here. They were clearly on board trying to frame this and trying to shape this. There is a massive thought control, basically ongoing tradition, whether it's K through 12, whether it's the academy, whether it's government, including some Republicans, and whether it is public media and the commercial mainstream media. This is one of the assumptions that they don't want challenged. And the thing is, when we challenge and we have the receipts and we have the proof, we win hearts and minds with truth.
Yes.
They have to preserve their dominance over hearts and minds through lies.
That's right.
So when I read that we don't know how many staff members across the region and around the state are going to lose their jobs, I rejoice in somebody losing their jobs. I love the fact that somebody is probably going to be scared to death that they can't pay rent, or what's going to happen with their mortgage, or what's going to happen with their student loan, or their car payment. You chose to make your living this way. You chose to make your living participating in the death and the human butchery of Planned Parenthood. Hopefully, the job market is such to where you're going to lose stuff.
Yes.
I want to see your car towed off. I want to see you facing eviction notices. I want to see you go through hard things in life. Because that's justice.
A price should be paid.
Yeah, and absolutely and let the let that happen to them. I'm not doxing anybody or anything like that. But I really hope that your life is miserable because of what you have chosen to do for a living.
Now that Planned Parenthood report that if the long-term funding cuts went through, they'd have to shut down possibly 200 of their locations. To put that in context, they currently have 579 locations in the country. So being forced to shut down 200, first of all, it shows how much they rely on federal funding to have an organization as large as they have, and also it says that we have the power to have a major impact through our representatives to cut them off from being able to conduct their ongoing Holocaust against our babies.
Those closures would be in 24 states. And I think we can read between the lines and say they would be 24 red states because the blue states will find a way to subsidize them anyway.
Yep. Also, oh no, did Republicans kill public broadcasting? Oh, no, they didn't. It's almost like the left didn't tell the truth. So let's set that record straight at 720.
Making cold my heart to fight your war. Stop it right now. I have had enough of this. Turn my eyes to your indifference. Stop it right now before you blow us all away.
Well, there you go again, listening to Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
Did Donald Trump and Republicans make everything great again over the weekend? We'll discuss with Senator Jim Talent at 4:25. At 5:25, Red State Headlines with Susie Moore.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps. Weekdays at 4 on News Talk STL.
With all of the celebrations, anniversaries, and holidays coming up over the next few months, where are you going to go to get that special something for the special people in your life? Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, of course. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers found 24/7 at wowdiamonds.com. Tim Jones here to tell you all about Newsteaders Fine Jewelers. Richard Newsteader and his team serving our region since 1961 with awesome, honest jewelry solutions. They've got everything from diamonds to wedding engagement rings, hand-engraved items, pendants, earrings, and so much more. You can find them 24/7, wowdiamonds.com. That's Newsteaders Fine Jewelers, wowdiamonds.com.
The Wall That Heals comes to St. Louis County July 24th through 27th at Jefferson Barracks Historic Site. This traveling replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial has brought healing to nearly 800 communities nationwide. Join us as the Vic Percelli Show broadcasts live from the Wall Thursday, July 24th from 9 till noon. Made possible by Best Buy Flooring, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and DG Firearms.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Bunny Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airways for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Bunny Radio every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeBunnyRadio.com. What else do our listeners need to know, Doug?
Simply put, I focus on helping pre-retirees and retirees build, preserve, and protect retirement assets, and I've been helping my clients solve their insurance and financial needs for the past 33 years. I also strive to educate my clients on how to prepare for retirement, minimize the impact of market volatility on their assets, and deal with the challenges of increased longevity. Call me today at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
Hey, Columbo here for Rockwood Charcoal. Rockwood is made from 100% pure Missouri oak and hickory, so you're cooking with the best and supporting local industry and a local business all at once. There's over 100 area Rockwood retailers. Find yours at rockwoodcharcoal.com.
Live and local.
Well, here's what's on my mind. I think I got the solution to immigration.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Hey folks, Jamie Allman here, waiting for you for the 3 Martini Lunch, the Common Sense Radio, the Allman Report on News Talk STL. Now back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, far be it from me, guys. Far be it from me to ever imply that leftists mislead people on political stuff.
What?
I would never do that. Okay. No. I would, never, point out that public broadcasting station you rely on for your storm warnings.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going away.
Really?
It was never going to go
I
away.
was told.
I know you were told.
I was told that I was going to die in a flood because
if you can't trust Chuck Schumer on that, who can you trust, Gabe?
Yeah, that's you're making good points here. You're talking sense.
Oh my goodness. So as we expected, they're now making panicked pleas for donations. And you know what? They're probably going to get them.
Oh, they're going to get them.
Yeah. I'm looking at the Missouri Independent article on this, who, according to Missouri Independent, they are completely unbiased and non-political. Follow them on Blue Sky. But they've got
Blue Sky.
Yeah. They've got an article, Missouri Public Broadcasters launch emergency drives to offset federal cuts.
It's an emergency.
It's an emergency drive. So that the secondary headline, the byline there, or not the byline, but the secondary headline, public and community radio and television stations in Missouri received $7.6 million in federal grants last year and will lose all federal funding under the rescission bill. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, 7.6 million split up among all of those?
Really?
That's
Yeah.
it?
That's
what you're panicking over?
They're making it sound like a lot, but it's not actually a lot.
It's not that much. Okay, so several of the broadcasters launched emergency fund drives on Friday, and others put out warnings that they are in big trouble because Congress cut that $1.1 billion in federal support for public media or government media. So there are 9 NPR stations and 4 television stations, 4 PBS stations on the Missouri side of things, and obviously the St. Louis ones, their coverage area includes Illinois as well. And then there are some small community radio stations that also get Corporation for Public Broadcasting funding as well, that they aren't necessarily NPR affiliates, but they're, basically going to be left-wing. There's one in Columbia called KOPN, which is a community radio station, kind of like what KDHX used to be here.
Yeah.
I don't know that KDHX ever got Corporation for Public Broadcasting funding. I mean, maybe they did for some shows or something, but I don't remember them being big into Corporation for Public Broadcasting.
Yeah.
KOPN got some of that in Columbia. And so basically the blue dots in the red state, that's where you would find
That's
that.
where they need the money.
Yeah, that's where they would go. And so so they have they're launching all of these, like for instance, KBIA, which is an NPR affiliate in Columbia, which by the way is operated by Mizzou's journalism school.
No way.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. So you mean the university is churning out journalism students inculcated entirely in NPR style of balanced reporting? That's what you're telling me?
You're right. So they've launched a fund to raise $500,000 in Columbia.
Okay. Some rich alum is going to write a check and they'll be done.
Yeah, they'll be fine. KCUR, which is the NPR station in Kansas City, they are running a fundraising drive also trying to raise $500,000. KCUR used to be, at least they were affiliated with UMKC, or at least they're right there, they're biased. So, they should not have any problems. I mentioned KOPN in Columbia. They're trying to raise $40,000. I don't know whether they're going to do it. So, KCPT, the Kansas City public television station, they are not stating what their goal is, but they're launching an emergency drive as well. St. Louis, I've seen some of the people who work there. They are putting stuff out basically saying, please donate, please donate, please donate, when you're talking about, Channel 9 here and that sort of thing.
Tell me where the car wash is going to be, so I can stage my dirt clod fight over there.
St. Louis Public Radio, they say they're going to lose $575,000, but get this, that's only 6% of their annual revenue.
I was going to say, like
6%.
6%.
So you do the math. 575,000 is 6% of its annual revenue. That's got to be one of the highest revenue radio stations in the market.
Yeah, seriously. Like
if that's 6%.
All they have to do is cut down on the free snacks that they provide in the break room, and they will make up their budget shortfall.
Right.
It's fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. And for instance, the Kansas City television station, that $500,000 they're trying to recoup, that's only 13% of their budget. And so here's where we're at with this, is that they were trying to make it sound like we were like kidnapping Big Bird and taking it to the rotisserie. and we're gonna go drag Ken Burns behind the building and beat him up. I mean they're
waterboarding Elmo as we speak.
They're waterboarding. Okay, none of these stations are in danger of going off the air, but that's the imagery that they tried to give you. Is that the Republicans are going to cut out your station. You rely on, first of all, you don't rely on them for storms, which we talked about last week.
Right.
But PBS and NPR, if there's a market and a demand for them, then raise the money yourselves.
Yeah.
You want to stay nonprofit, and then that changes what you can do as far as your advertising. They have commercials. Here's the I used to work at a non-commercial radio station.
Yes. It's in Christian radio, right?
I was in Christian radio.
They tend to be non-commercial.
Most of them are, yeah. And even the ones that are technically not commercial,
they're running commercials.
They're running profits.
Yes.
They're running commercials. But you can't use the same commercials.
Right.
So basically you can't do a call to action. Like when we say, hey, I go to Nutrition Stop and I love the ground bison, go buy it and try it.
Right.
That's a call to action.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You can't do that. If I were on a nonprofit station or a non-com station, I would have to say, I personally go to Nutrition Stop. If you want to learn more, you can go to Nutrition Stop.
That's the difference.
Maybe you could consider getting the bison like I do, but that is totally up to you. Make your own choice.
It's still a commercial.
It's still a commercial.
But the language is slightly different. That's pretty much the difference.
There's a significant portion of all of the funding for most PBS and NPR stations come from within a mile of the actual station. You know why?
Why is that?
Because most of them are on college campuses.
There it is. They're in college towns,
which are being funded by your tax dollars anyway.
Yes.
So that's that. So you're good. You're going to be backdoor funding them through grants that go through other things. But the media and the left tried to make this sound like these were going to go silent and go off the air. And that was never a possibility.
No.
Never. They just lied.
At most, like I said, they're going to have to make minor cutbacks on their budgeting to make up this shortfall.
And probably not even that. They'll just go to their biggest donors and say, "Hey guys, we need more money."
And that's what's actually would.
And we're going to make you out to be the heroes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like you get to be a gold donor if you come in at this at this level, and you get the extra tote bag with the the sham wow or whatever in it. So whatever
we're gonna dig up Bob Ross and he's gonna hug you personally.
Personal hug.
Yeah.
From resurrected Bob Ross. Yeah, that's pretty much how it goes with NPR. All they have to do, public radio of all sorts, all they have to do is go to their donors, who are the ones who make up most of them.
In the meantime, we get the apocalyptic nonsense. Not just, and I saw it from the PBS folks here.
Elmo can't breathe.
I didn't see that one coming. And one of them, and honestly, one of them's my friend in St. Louis here, and I'm looking at his Facebook post, and I'm like, no, I'm not typing.
It's like I can't.
We've had burgers and beer together. I'm not doing it.
You're not gonna blow up the spot on
I'm
Facebook.
not gonna but
You're lying,
NPR and I there's one of the NPR reporters I think is very talented and very good at what he does, but they're so blatantly left wing.
Yeah.
But the argument that it's all going to go away and it's all going to die because of this rescission bill, that was never a possibility, and they knew it. They knew it.
So Oscar's not going to have his garbage can repossessed. No, just because our friend Jim on YouTube. Good morning, Jim. Thanks for joining us. He wanted to know if they actually have a weather department, and so I was looking into it. NPR, PBS, and CBS, they don't actually have a weather department. The whole narrative that the cutting to that would affect that in any way. Now they do have a partnership. CBS has a partnership with the Weather Channel, but I don't think the Weather Channel is at any risk of going out just because they lose 5%, 10% of their funding.
The Weather Channel is a commercial operation.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, it's a similar thing. We have a partnership with KMOV and their weather department.
Right.
So when there's like breaking bad, terrible weather, we get updates directly from them.
They're the ones who employ the media.
They're the ones who, exactly. So they're and the thing is that, do you know what that means with the partnership? It means that they put the little graphic on the screen like everybody else does.
That's the difference.
That's it.
Yeah.
They don't break in from the PBS Weather Center.
But by the way, if your NPR says, because of the rescission bill, we're not going to report on imminent danger coming towards you that we know about, they're just bad people.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So it's all a big song and dance in the game, and it always has been. But here's what I'll leave you with on this, because we're going to talk to Congressman Bob Onder here in just a minute. Why was it so important that we keep taxpayer money going to that from their perspective? It's not about the funding. It's not about the 6%. It is about the state-approved, government-sanctioned, government-run media. That's what it's about.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
You and I might have something in common. Back pain. I can tell you where I go for help. Esquire Sports Medicine, the spine of St. Louis. They can put athletes back on the field so they can clearly help us. Esquire Sports Medicine, hands-on chiropractic help on Big Bend, just north of Highway 40. 314-644-0885. EsquireSportsMedicine.com. EsquireSportsMedicine.com.
Larry Connor's Commentary, brought to you by Vincent's Jewelers, offering a wide selection of jewelry, including lab-grown diamonds, affordable earrings, bracelets, necklaces, and rings, up to 75% off their natural counterparts. Visit VincentsJewelers.com. This is Larry Connor's Commentary on News Talk STL.
Post-traumatic syndrome is a real issue. For decades, it was not recognized. So many of our vets coming back from war, they didn't even want to admit they were suffering flashbacks or other symptoms. In their view, to acknowledge that was making them look weak. So they dealt with it by raging anger, alcohol, drugs, silence, sometimes suicide. Plus, you don't have to be a war veteran to suffer PTSD. Police officers, other first responders, maybe even members of a family after a tragedy. They are all true victims, which is why I'm so angry at a CBS reporter who claims he suffered PTSD at Butler, Pennsylvania, afraid the crowd was going to turn on him because Trump was shot. He says some were yelling at me, blaming me. And he said, I now suffer PTSD. I'm a victim. So how does his experience compare to another CBS reporter, Laura Logan? She was attacked by a mob in Cairo, men ripping off her clothing, raping her, sodomizing her repeatedly. So this guy at Butler, he wants sympathy. He gets none from me.
Get more Larry Connors on Larry Connors USA.
Tonight at 6 on News Talk STL.
I want to tell you more about Wellington Environmental's dustless blasting services. Wellington can blast paint, grease, graffiti, even stripes off parking lots. Truly amazing and powerful. But can Wellington blast something more sensitive? Yes, Wellington can use dry ice to blast soot and odors off smoke-damaged surfaces right after a fire. Currently, Wellington uses dry ice to clean mold off wood inside a home. Why? Well, dry ice immediately disappears, turns into a vapor. That means no mess to clean up, no damaged surfaces. You need to check with Wellington, always researching and practicing with new, better, faster, safer equipment and products for you. And it's very easy to schedule an estimator for your next project. Call Cindy, 314-644-4930, 644-4930. Be well with Wellington.
News Talk STL, the Hammond Institute for Free Enterprise, and the Young America's Foundation welcome Steve Forbes to Lindenwood University for an inspiring evening on how free enterprise and entrepreneurship make America great. Discover how free markets and small business drive innovation, prosperity, and opportunity. Thursday, September 18th at Lindenwood University Scheidegger Center for the Arts. And this in-person event is free. Reserve your tickets now at hammondinstitute.org. Brought to you by Mid-Rivers and West News Magazines.
Whether at home or at work, you're mobile. So when you're mobile, stay mobile. Keep St. Louis's home for conservative talk with you wherever you go. Download the News Talk STL app in the App Store or at newstalkstl.com.
Hey everyone, this is State Senator Nick Schroer. I am the host of Stand and Fight every Sunday night. Right now, let's hear more of Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show here on News Talk STL.
All right, where do we go from here? Okay, so now the Republicans have shown they can cut spending.
At least a little.
Yeah. Is there an appetite for more of that in Washington, or is it just more big talk about cutting more spending?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to find out sooner rather than later here. It is 7:36 right now. I'm Mike. That's Gabe. We got Jerome here. And we're now joined by Congressman Bob Onder here, right? We've got Congressman Onder, right?
The phones are acting up a little bit.
Are they? Is Soros the gremlin back in there?
Soros the gremlin.
We've named him Soros.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Lil Soros.
All right. Lil Soros.
L-I-L.
All right.
Soros.
Do we have him? Congressman, you there? There. Oh, sort of.
Say again.
Good morning.
Good morning.
There
you
go. All right. We had to fight through. We've named the gremlin that goes into our phone system Soros.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective.
He was acting up a little bit.
I thought he was named Elmo.
Well, okay, Congressman, he used to be, but you heartlessly cut funding, so we can't afford Elmo the gremlin anymore. We have to have Soros,
he's currently being held in Gitmo.
Alligator Alcatraz.
Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, he's on his way out of the country.
Okay, Congressman Bob Onder. Good for you. Okay, so this was interesting coming out of Friday, and I was a little surprised that this was announced on Friday. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard basically saying, I've got documents that confirm the Russian hoax was a hoax, and referring things to the Department of Justice for possible prosecution. I mean, we knew this was all nonsense.
Yeah.
Is this something that could rise to a level of criminal investigation and prosecution?
Yeah. Good morning, guys. I mean, I think on the one hand, it's tempting to just say, well, we know all this already. We know there's no way the investigation of Trump, the weaponization of the intelligence community against the nominee and then president of the United States, there's no way all that happened without Barack Obama knowing it. But this really, I mean, we haven't seen the documents yet, but if Tulsi Gabbard has what she says she has, this is a smoking gun. And it's very incriminating. What she tells us is that on September 12th of 2016, so before the election, there was an intelligence committee assessment that the Russians did not have any, they had not meaningfully affected the election. They didn't have the capability to do so. There was nothing there. And then despite that, after the election on December 6th, 2016, Obama tasked his Secretary of State, his intelligence director, FBI deputy director, Andrew McCabe, tasked them to look into Russian election meddling, even though they already knew that there wasn't any meaningful interference in the election by Russia. So, in other words, Obama, said, let's go out and find something. And the report they developed after that meeting included the infamous Steele dossier. So it really does appear that Obama directed his intelligence agents, even though they knew better, to go out and make a case against Donald Trump. This is truly despicable. Tulsi Gabbard went so far as to call it an attempted coup and a treasonous conspiracy. Those are strong words. And I really do believe that we need to get to the bottom of this, and people do need to be held accountable.
Good morning, Bob. Gabe here. Speaking of conspiracies, we still have this sort of Epstein case stuff kind of looming over our heads.
Yes.
Thomas Massey's recently looking for a discharge petition regarding those files. What do you make of first of all, I guess the administration's stance on the whole affair? I guess generally speaking, they're calling it Trump has called it a hoax. He's putting it in the same category as the Russia hoax. But the Congress and a lot of us out here, we're saying no, just show us the goods and then we'll make a decision for ourselves. Where do you stand on this?
Yeah, 100%. The administration has to come forward and show the goods and let the chips fall where they may. I mean, look, you can't allude to something and talk about something for, and then when the public wants that something to be exposed, to then call it a hoax. So, look, on the other hand, I'm not a fan of discharge petitions. In this case, we've had two big discharge petitions just in the last year. One having to do with a Social Security bill that probably makes the system less solvent to the tune of about $500 billion. That happened before I got there in November, December, and then we had Anna Luna's proxy voting discharge petition. In both cases, where a handful of Republicans joined all the Democrats to essentially take control of the chamber. I think with continued pressure on the part of you, on the part of me, on the part of others, I think eventually we will get to the bottom of the Epstein hoax. But it is not a good look for the administration. The Epstein files. It is not a good look for the administration to suppress.
So let me follow that up real quick. So is it a matter of it being in the form of a discharge petition that you're not a fan of? When it comes to Thomas Massey and Rand Paul and Eric Burleson and many of the others, they're saying, but this is what it's going to take to force the hand of the administration to get these files out there. I mean, is there a better way to do that, or is it just that procedure?
Yeah, I think it's that procedure. I think Congress could pass a resolution. I think leadership could allow a bill to pass to go to the floor and pass, and I think it would receive overwhelming support by Republicans. But yeah, I think there's too much precedent. For instance, this Dignity Act, that you were talking about. Think about that. As long as Representative Salazar can get the support of 5 to 10 Republicans, every Democrat will vote for amnesty for illegal aliens. So it's a bad precedent. No, that's why discharge petitions
let me jump in, because I know Gabe's got a question, but let me follow up on the Dignity Act thing there. And I'm going to say this in the most respectful way possible. What the hell is Congresswoman Salazar thinking with that? I mean, this is essentially amnesty.
It is 100% amnesty. And, 5-10 years ago, I think a lot of Republicans were really skittish on the issue of illegal immigration, being afraid they would alienate Hispanics. But now, Hispanics from states like Florida, from border states like Arizona, Texas, they are some of the most pro-immigration enforcement Americans we have. So I don't know what she's thinking. I think now amnesty is more of a thing where big business wants cheap labor, cheap illegal alien labor, more so than any kind of a grassroots movement by Hispanics or otherwise.
Now, changing gears a little bit, wanted to talk about your proposal to revoke the National Education Association's federal charter. What's going on there?
Yeah, that wasn't my bill. That was Mark here. I'm a co-sponsor of Representative Mark Harris from North Carolina and Senator Marsha Blackburn. The NEA, the National Education Association, is the only labor union in the United States to have a federal charter. It dates back to 1906. And, organizations like, the Boy Scouts and veterans groups have these charters a lot of times because they're just acknowledged as, good groups that do good things. It once gave a tax exempt status, but nonprofits generally have that anyway. So, but it really, most of these charters though come with strings attached. The NEA doesn't. So there's no reason this very radical left labor union that has called Donald Trump a fascist, that supports racial and gender ideology, that is so divisive and so far left. There's no reason the NEA deserves a privileged place in our federal statutes. And the NEA's charter should either be revoked, or if the NEA wants to submit to congressional hearings and all, as a condition of their charter, then they could do that as well.
Now, what would be the effect on the NEA for losing this charter?
Yeah, I don't know that it would have a lot of practical effect other than the kind of bragging rights of having that privileged status of being an organization that's been recognized and chartered by Congress as being a good and American organization. So largely symbolic, but again, there's no reason the NEA should have this privileged place in our statute books.
What's the read of the room as far as whether or not enough of your colleagues, because basically you would need all the Republicans to be on board with this. Is there an appetite to actually send this message to the teachers unions?
Yeah, I would hope so. I haven't been whipping the votes. I'll see my colleague Mark Harris today and see where he is on that. Unfortunately, in the Missouri General Assembly, I saw a lot of Republicans all too willing to do the bidding of the teachers unions. That was always very disappointing in a red state like Missouri. So in a more narrowly split Congress, I don't know. We might lose a few Republicans there. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, well, I appreciate the honesty on that. All right, Congressman Bob Onder, appreciate the update as always. We'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Thanks, Bob.
Great to be with you guys. Have a great week.
All right, it's coming up on 7:50 on a Monday. We're going to start things off right, Gabe.
I'm going to tell you something good about the Prince of Darkness.
Oh,
doing some good.
All right,
it's crazy.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for Patriot Heating and Cooling. When your home's comfort is on the line, you need a team you can trust. That's why I recommend Patriot Heating and Cooling, St. Louis's trusted team of HVAC experts. These pros make customer service their number one priority, whether it's a summer breakdown or a winter emergency. Booking your service couldn't be easier. Just visit callpatriothvacstl.com or call 314-527-2722. Patriot Heating and Cooling. Comfort every day, the Patriot way.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on NewsTalkSTL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
Attention off-road enthusiasts. Iron Bear Customs has the strongest bumpers on the planet. Plus, brush guards, lift kits, and custom cages for all vehicles. Visit ironbearcustoms.com and mention NewsTalkSTL for 10% off. Iron Bear Customs, built tough for the toughest terrain.
Discover Patriot Powder Coating, your family-owned specialist in Pacific. From small jobs to big projects, we got you covered. Visit our showroom or call 636-551-0377. Mention Newstalk STL for 10% off.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's The Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
It's 7:50 on a Monday. You know what that means, Gabe.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to tell me something good.
Tell me something good.
Providence was at work when 27 workers managed to escape what could easily have been a deadly tunnel collapse. So could have been one of those scary stories with the read about people being trapped and things like that. But it worked out really well.
That's the stuff of nightmares.
Absolutely. The contractors were employees of Flatiron Dragados, a firm that's currently tunneling 450 feet below the city of Los Angeles on a major $500 million sanitation project up Clearwater. At 18 feet wide and 7 miles long, it's an immense undertaking to transport treated wastewater from a plant in Carson to the ocean. Now, around 8 p.m. local time last Thursday, the soil in the ceiling portion of the tunnel began collapsing down behind the 27 men who had the large tunneling machine in front of them. So it would have absolutely trapped them down there.
Babe, you're supposed to tell me something good.
Yeah. Okay. I'm getting there.
Now you're scaring me.
The collapse occurred 6 miles from the only access point too. So they were absolutely screwed. But various first response and emergency services rushed to the scene, including all the city's urban search and rescue teams. But fortunately, their assistance wasn't required, as there was a space of about 3 to 4 feet through which the 27 men could crawl out. Within an hour, everyone had escaped the collapse unharmed. Wow. It's a freaking miracle.
Good news, everyone.
Tell me something good.
Now, in our second story, in a development with wide-ranging implications, an international team of engineers may have created a new class of thermal materials with the help of artificial intelligence. Now, this is a really, really cool story. This new thermal coating could reduce energy bills significantly by keeping buildings cooler, according to research from the University of Texas, Austin, National University of Singapore, Shanghai, Jiao Tong University, and Umeå University in Sweden. So this big international group just kind of coming together for this thing. The team fabricated 4 materials and verified the effectiveness of one of the materials by applying it to a model house and comparing its cooling effect to commercial paint. So this is your standard commercial paints. So after a 4-hour midday exposure to direct sunlight, so they baked it, the meta emitter coated building, that roof came in between 9 and 36 degrees Fahrenheit cooler than the ones with typical white and gray paints, respectively. This could lead to significant savings on the energy needed to keep these spaces cool via air conditioning. Now,
yeah, I mean, think about 9 to 36%,
36 degrees
or degrees, 9 to 36 degrees less
cooler.
Yeah, less stress on your HVAC.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's a huge deal. Now, this is an even bigger deal than just the savings on your home electric bill in summertime in 2 major ways. First, thermal meta emitters have almost universal applications where heat can be a factor. So their usage could help regulate the temperatures experienced by spacecraft, improve cooling fabrics for clothing, keep your car from turning into an oven on a sunny day, and even make computer processors more efficient. And second, the AI-driven process used to supercharge what used to be a painstaking, labor-intensive endeavor could be applied to any number of emerging technologies. So this is the great part about the advent of modern AI, and it's just going to get better.
Yeah, and that's the thing with artificial intelligence. We have a lot of the fear mongering in conservative media about it.
Yes,
but there is immense, unlimited potential to do good things with it as well. It's all what we do with it.
A lot of that. Now, the Prince of Darkness made his official curtain call recently with a benefit concert for Parkinson's research and children's hospitals that raised a staggering $190 million.
Whoa.
So following performances from, and this was the lineup. Check this out. Following performances from heavy metal stars Mastodon, Anthrax, Lamb of God, Alice in Chains, Pantera, Tool, Slayer, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, and 2 different supergroups composed by Morello, who was the guitarist for Rage Against the Machine. That included members of Aerosmith, Judas Priest, Blink-182, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Soundgarden, and many others.
And Hailstorm and some others.
And then Black Sabbath took the stage after all that, with the Parkinson-stricken Osbourne seated on a black throne. So he's very much in his Prince of Darkness mode. Now, despite his condition, Osbourne sang a 9-song set.
Yeah, and he sounded good.
Yeah,
he really did.
And this wasn't just in front of the sold-out Birmingham crowd. That they sold out that venue in 16 minutes, by the way. Yeah. But millions of people watching on live stream. So the mountain of proceeds went to research funding organization Cure Parkinson's, Birmingham Children's Hospital, and Acorn Children's Hospice.
Every single performer agreed to do it at no cost. In order to raise money for this.
Tell me something good.
Now, to help you plan to have a good week, Tuesday is National Hammock Day. If you've had a hammock nap, it's different than other naps. Wednesday is National Vanilla Ice Cream Day. Now, I know yesterday was already National Ice Cream Day, but vanilla is special, dang nabbit. Thursday is
do anything with it.
Thursday is National Tequila Day. I know some people are going to be celebrating that. I thought that was Cinco de Mayo, though.
Yeah, that's
not your thing.
I'm not
a tequila guy. Okay. Friday is National Wine and Cheese Day. That might be more our speed. We can kind of chill and have our little bougie evening there. And then today is National Junk Food Day, which for Mike could be a cheat day, but for the rest of us, that's just a normal day.
I mean, if I'm going to do a cheat day, you know what? I'm heading to Mario's.
There you go.
That'll be it. But it's
for the rest of us, National Junk Food Day is every day.
There for way too many people. I was the weirdo after my ball game in Belleville last night. I stopped in at the convenience store. I wanted to get a protein bar and something because I was hungry, and I know if I don't eat something, I'm going to make a bad decision. And everybody, let's just say, with my trail mix and my protein bar, I was very different than everybody else in that convenience store in Belleville at 10 o'clock at night. Oh my God. Let's just say I was a little bit different.
They were hitting the hot dog roller hard.
They were hitting something hard.
All right. That's your good news for the week.
Oh, man. All right. Okay, so here's what's still ahead. 8:35, our buddy Tony Kinnett from the Daily Signal and the Tony Kinnett podcast, which, by the way, is quickly becoming one of the most popular in the country. He's going to be with us at 8:35. Also, the WNBA.
Yes.
Okay, be careful what you ask for. They finally made headlines and people are talking about them.
Again, yeah.
But it had nothing to do with their talent or lack thereof on the basketball court. Did you see this nonsense?
I did.
Oh my goodness. So it just gets dumber and dumber and dumber. And also, of course, we are talking about the Cardinals in the news dump here in just a little bit. They got their butts whooped 3 times in a row. That's the spoiler alert. Also, Busch Stadium was sold out for a 2-game series.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, the Cardinals did it? No, the Cardinals went Arizona.
No, yeah.
The Savannah Bananas were at Busch Stadium Friday and Saturday. Over 44,800 people at each game.
They showed them how it's done.
Adam Wainwright made his final pitching appearance at Busch Stadium, throwing in one of the innings with the Savannah Bananas. And it looked like it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun out there. Mike Ferguson here. Retirement should be a time you can relax. No more stress from work. But there's one thing you can't forget about when retiring. That's your money. Do you have enough saved to fund your income for life and keep up with inflation? How will you claim your Social Security benefits? And what about long-term care? The ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel is here to help answer all of these questions. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9, right here on News Talk STL. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create an investment portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free retirement plan consultation, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com. Or call 636-695-2650, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Dude, this house is perfect. Crumbs everywhere, sticky counters. I've already texted the colony.
Sweet, I'll bring my 500 cousins. This'll be the biggest ant rager of the summer.
Let's party! Wait, what's that sound? Oh, no, it's those trucks with the green wheels. Party's over, man. Party's over.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. We'd love to help you out. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 636-486-7888.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
KLGY HD3 Clay, K270BW Belfast, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
Tower from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomason. Tax cuts and a border that really is secure. Just 2 of the accomplishments that President Trump is pointing to 6 months into the first year of his second term. On Truth Social, the president writes, 1 year ago, our country was dead, with almost no hope of revival. Today, the USA is the hottest, most respected country anywhere in the world. The president pressuring Senate Majority Leader John Thune to keep the Senate at work through what is traditionally a late summer break.
Mr. Trump took to Truth Social to send a message to Leader Thune. He wrote, quote, hopefully the very talented John Thune, fresh off our many victories over the past 2 weeks, and indeed for 6 months, will cancel August recess in order to get my incredible nominees confirmed. President Trump continued, we need them badly. Several high-profile nominees are at stake. Emily Bove, a lawyer for the Justice Department, is up for a judgeship on the federal court, and Janine Pirro, a former Fox News host, the top federal prosecutor in D.C. President Trump has encouraged Congress to keep up with the pace he established since taking office in January. Bernie Bennett, Washington.
Alaska Airlines back in the air this morning, although there are some residual delays following last night's troublesome tech problems.
Alaska Airlines has resumed operations after a technical problem Sunday night. The Seattle-based company says it experienced an IT outage that affected its entire system and led to a temporary ground stop for 3 hours from 8 to 11 p.m. Pacific time. That kept aircraft for all Alaska flights and its subsidiary Horizon Airlines from taking off. Alaska posted it will take some time to get operations back to normal as they reposition aircraft and crews. I'm Jennifer King.
And it looks like Wall Street will be starting off the week with gains. The Dow futures are up 89 points. NASDAQ futures ahead 42. S&P futures better by 12 points. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at Tax Pro USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-315-5222. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call Tax Pro USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-315-5222. 800-315-5222. That's 800-315-5222.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Hey, Tony Colombo here with Tim Jones for our friends Rodney and Jen Wallner, the Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway, the #1 home selling team in the St. Louis area. And I can say that from firsthand experience. My wife and I were blown away from the results that we saw from working with Rodney and Jen, from selling our old home faster and for more money than we thought possible to finding our family's perfect new home. They over-delivered every step of the way. And right now, it's still very much a seller's market. So, Tim, for folks that have been thinking about selling their home, it's a perfect time to call the Wallners.
That's right, Tony. And don't forget, they're licensed in both Missouri and Illinois. So no matter where you are in the metro area, you can put St. Louis's #1 home selling team to work for you. The Wallners' experience and work ethic, second to none. And of course, the numbers speak for themselves. The Wallners sell 15 times more homes per year than the typical realtor. Right now, they're working with so many qualified buyers, they'll guarantee to obtain you an offer. If you've been thinking about selling your home, don't wait. Call the Wallners now at 314-810-SOLD. That's 314-810-SOLD for the Wallner home selling team.
Mike Ferguson.
Here we go again. These people are crazy.
Gabe Phifer.
A charitable interpretation for this kind of behavior does not exist.
Get up, St. Louis.
We're a different kind of clown show.
Mike Ferguson in the morning on News Talk STL.
Get up, this is your cousin.
All right, it turns out that the Russia collusion hoax was a hoax, as we suspected.
No way.
Should anybody, Obama, be prosecuted for it?
You got a little cough there.
Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
Clear your
let's talk about that here. Also, let's see here. Planned Parenthood is a crying. That means something good is happening here. Well, the Cardinals went out on the baseball field over the weekend. I'll give you the sad details of that. 8:05 right now. Let's go ahead and dump some news on you here.
The Morning News Dump, brought to you by Common Sense Rentals.
Successful dump. Wake up, America. It all worked out.
They got all the news.
The Morning News Dump.
All right, if you're that rare person who has not already checked your social media or checked out all the news headlines, this is what you're going to see dominating a lot of it, especially on conservative media.
Absolutely.
Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard is accusing the Obama administration of manufacturing intelligence to create the narrative that Russia attempted to influence the 2016 presidential election. Senator Roger Marshall, he is a Republican out of Kansas, was on Fox News Live to discuss that.
There are new documents that are showing that President Obama was in the room, and they did this conspiracy working with lifetime people within the political agencies, within the FBI. There was a conspiracy to try to throw out this misinformation, to try to make this an illegitimate election.
Gabbard has used words like seditious.
Yeah.
Used words like coup. She says that Barack Obama should be prosecuted. The Democrats' response from the Obama camp and from the Democratic camp so far has essentially been,
Yeah, pretty
I mean,
much.
that's
it.
basically been it.
But yeah, I want to say I'm shocked at the type of language she's comfortable using about this, but I'm not.
That's hardcore.
It's now she is going hardcore.
Yeah.
But I could see this. I could see that being the case. Like I'm not sure that this is hyperbolic rhetoric.
Yeah, she is referring all of her findings to the Department of Justice, which the DOJ then makes a decision as to whether or not there's any further investigation or prosecution.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that they need to pursue this as hard as they can because the DOJ needs a win right now.
Yeah.
They really do.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Also in Washington, and we just talked to Congressman Bob Onder about this, so be sure you're subscribed to our podcast and catch that discussion. The so-called Big Beautiful Bill, which to be sure has lots of bad parts, is already having an impact with one of the good parts. And there are a number of good parts in this bill. Planned Parenthood here in our region says they are being forced to lay off some staff members. Yep. They are citing the temporary federal defunding of the organization through Medicaid as that reason. The cuts will take effect August 1st, although we don't know exactly how many employees the human butchery business is going to have to fire. But we're talking about the 6 Planned Parenthoods here in the immediate region, and then basically the others in Missouri that are affiliated with Planned Parenthood.
Now they want to make sure they still have the capacity to kill kids. Yeah. So they're going to be focusing on laying off administrative workers right now. So your finance people, your office people. But they're going to try to as desperately as they can to keep these clinics open. What Republicans need to do is, while they have a little bit of power here and they see the positive effect and they see the positive response by the public that they're getting, they need to double, triple, and quadruple down. Get us at least the 10 years, if not a permanent new law that bars them from receiving any sort of Medicaid money.
If we can get Planned Parenthood defunded through our tax dollars for 10 years, we can probably starve the beast permanently in at least half the country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're reporting that they could lose up to 200 of their clinics in
24 states.
In 24 states, if the defunding lasts much longer than what we currently have, that's at least about a third of the clinics that they have in total.
So we need Republicans to grow and maintain a backbone on this.
Yes, please.
For the next, really the next year, and then make that permanent. All right. One of Jeffrey Epstein's former lawyers is calling on the Justice Department to release additional investigative records from the sex trafficking investigation. Yes, I'm still talking about it.
Yes. And we still need to keep talking about it.
I don't know. Maybe I've been duped, or I'm stupid, or I'm foolish, as I've been told.
You're buying into the hoax.
I'm buying into the hoax, apparently. All right. Attorney Alan Dershowitz is also urging the government to grant Epstein's former girlfriend immunity so that she can testify about his crimes. He told Fox News Sunday that the grand jury transcripts, which the president says should be released, he says those actually aren't going to say very much.
The information that hasn't been requested is going to be far more informative and far more relevant than the grand jury information. Grand jury information is narrowly tailored by prosecutors only to provide sufficient evidence to result in an indictment.
And that is from Fox News Sunday. So the bottom line is that the Trump administration is still not taking the position that all of the files, all the information should be released to the public. They're still hiding stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. By focusing on the grand jury stuff, they're saying, okay, we'll give them a little bit, but we want the full court proceedings. And I think that immunity for Maxwell would be a huge deal because, look, she's going to be eligible for release from federal prison in 2037 when she's 75. Now, if she could basically, you could secure her, you let her know, okay, well, let's just stay out, for the rest of your life after you serve until then she might spill a bit more tea.
Yeah. And should she do that, I think it would be ground shaking.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think probably she would end up with the same fate as a Joe Pesci character in a mobster movie.
That's entirely possible. Yeah. I mean, but hey, I'm willing to take that risk, Mike.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. All right. Okay. So the Federal Reserve is supposed to be independent of politics in Washington, D.C. Now, I don't think anybody in this room is a big fan of the Federal Reserve to start with.
Nah.
Yeah, but it's here and it's supposed to be independent. President Trump not wild about that at the moment.
agency, the nation's central bank is allowed to make monetary decisions free from political pressure. But President Trump, who is extremely unhappy with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell, said he only wants a chair who would cut interest rates.
We have a lot of people that want that job very badly, and I'm only interested in low-interest people.
Last week, financial markets were rattled by reports that Powell might be fired, but they recovered after the president said removing the chairman was highly unlikely. Greg Clugston, the White House.
And by the way, President Trump actually nominated Jerome Powell
Yeah.
to be the Fed chairman
Regretting
in
that decision.
2017, and clearly rethinking that decision that he made there. And there's a variety of perspectives on Jerome Powell. We just talked to Stephen Moore the other day, and he said, yeah, Jerome Powell's got to go. The president can technically fire him.
Yeah.
But the conditions in order that would allow the president to do that have to be pretty extreme, and disagreeing with the president is not one of them. So it doesn't appear that President Trump has the ability to fire Jerome Powell as it is right now, just because he doesn't like his decisions. But somebody says the president can't fire him. That's not technically correct, just not in this circumstance.
Yeah, the Fed is one of those weird agencies where it doesn't quite make sense. It doesn't fit in the definition of the various agencies that we're aware of, where the president nominates and then therefore can remove pretty easily, relatively easily.
It's not a serve at the pleasure of the president.
It's not one of those. But this is one of the reasons, to me at least, why it should go. It doesn't operate the way the rest of government does, and I don't like that.
All right, ICE, and this is looking at an Illinois story to talk about the human aspect of why it is so crucial to find illegal aliens and get them out of our country.
Mhm.
Okay, starting obviously with the most violent. ICE re-arrests a Mexican illegal alien who is facing charges of decapitating a missing Illinois woman and storing her body in a container filled with bleach. So here's the story. We found this from Fox 32, which is a local Fox station in Chicago. This is reporter Dane Placo giving the details.
The Department of Homeland Security says agents arrested Jose Luis Mendoza Gonzalez at a market in Chicago, and he remains in ICE custody. They say he is an undocumented immigrant from Mexico. Now, you remember back in April, Mendoza Gonzalez was charged with concealing a corpse, abusing a corpse, and obstruction of justice in the death of Megan Boss. Police in Waukegan found Boss's body in a container in Mendoza Gonzalez's yard. She'd initially been reported missing back in March.
Okay, so here's the thing is, immediately after his first court appearance in that case, I think this would qualify as a particularly gruesome case.
Yes.
With somebody who's in the country illegally, but Lake County, Illinois Judge Randy Bruno released Jose Mendoza Gonzalez from custody.
Yeah, that's why ICE had to re-arrest him.
Yes.
It's crazy. It's ridiculous to me. And I don't know how we can continue on with judges like this guy.
Yeah. And so basically, Illinois voters, this is going to be on you. This is J.B. Pritzker's Illinois. That's the way it is. All right. Because of the heavy rainfall, much of the metro is under a flash flood warning for most of the morning, probably at least for the next 30, 45 minutes or so at least. But that should clear out by mid-morning. After that, though, we are still under an extreme heat warning. That is expected to stay in effect through most of the week, with temperatures reaching into the upper 90s by Wednesday. Take this one seriously.
Yeah.
That extreme heat warning. It's going to be really hot and really humid, so please be careful.
And the flash flood warning, by the way.
Yeah, we've seen what that can do around here. Cardinals are off to a lousy start, because I can say the word lousy on the radio. Lousy start to the post-All-Star game part of the season. They got swept by the Diamondbacks in Arizona over the weekend. Final score on Sunday was 5-3, the less embarrassing of the scores. Birds start a series with the Rockies in Colorado this evening. First pitch is at 7:40. That game's on FanDuel. Cardinals are dropped back to fourth place in the division. If it were not for the hapless Pirates, we'd be in last place. But the Pirates suck beyond sucking this year. So the Cardinals are 8.5 games behind both the Cubs and the Brewers, who are tied for first place.
Hey there, Tim Jones here. When life changes, you need someone you can trust. That's Todd Sivia. At Sivia Law, They're dedicated to helping you through all of life's transitions, specializing in estate planning and elder law. With 7 convenient locations in the area, expert guidance is always close by. Call 833-995-WILL, 833-995-WILL, or visit civialaw.com. Don't forget, first 10 people that tell them Tim Jones sent me get a free $300 strategy session. Civia Law, helping you protect what matters most.
Hey, St. Louis golfers, looking for a new golfing experience? Sugar Creek Golf Course was voted the most popular golf course in St. Louis. Book your tee time today at sugarcreekgolfcourse.com and join the fastest growing golf community in town, sugarcreekgolfcourse.com.
Is diabetes keeping you from enjoying life's special moments? At US Med, we understand the challenges you face, and we're here to help.
With US Med, I can finally manage my diabetes without it managing me.
US Med offers a wide range of services to simplify your diabetes care, personalized care plans, convenient access to cutting-edge diabetes tech, and knowledgeable support. Plus, we'll check your insurance so your diabetes care may be covered at little or no cost to you.
With US Med, I feel confident and control of my diabetes. I can finally live my life to the fullest.
Don't let diabetes hold you back. Choose US Med and experience better birthdays, better adventures, better anniversaries, and better everything. Call now. US Med. Better service, better care. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. 800-515-2380. That's 800-515-2380.
News, analysis, opinion.
You know, they're literally taking the Constitution and putting it in a paper shredder.
News Talk STL.
Hey, this is Vince Colonnese. I'll talk to you tonight at 8. But now back to the Mike Ferguson in the Morning Show on News Talk STL.
We don't talk a lot of sports on the show. Obviously, it's a news talk show, but the fair maidens of the WNBA managed to put themselves in the headlines, and it has nothing to do with what happens on the basketball court. We'll get to that in just a minute. It is 8:19. Guys, I'm going to take a quick point of personal privilege real quick here, because the show's got my name on it and everything.
I'll allow it.
I did not mention this last week, but 1 week ago today, one of my friends died. One of my teammates, one of my friends died, Dave Lauer. We actually had him on the show in December.
Oh, yeah.
Dave had been diagnosed with cancer, and I can't pronounce the actual medical term, but it was a brain tumor, and
very aggressive.
And we had him on the show because after he was diagnosed, he wrote a book to encourage other people.
Yeah.
It's in our book club. It's in the News Talk STL book club called Glad to Be Here. But Dave, we called him Dusty. We all have baseball nicknames, and we called him Dusty. And so Dave died a week ago. It's just unbelievably positive guy. He worked at MICDS, in the administration up there. So he was involved with education, and then he wrote the book and inspiring, other guys. One of my teammates, last night told us, he said, I've never been a writer, but he's inspired me to start writing things. And so we on the team, before and after our game last night, we had our own kind of team send off for Dave. And I got to tell you, that was harder than I thought it was going to be. I'm going to keep a lot of those details on the ball field. On that. But let me just put it this way. When you've got people in your life that, they're good people, but you're busy and you sometimes take them for granted, don't do that.
Yeah.
Do a mental experiment to say, what would happen if that person were suddenly gone? And you might look at the people in a little different perspective on that. And I think that's what a lot of us were doing. We knew this was coming with Dave.
Right.
He basically prepared us for that and consoled us for that. But it's really hard when it actually happens. And so if you're watching it right now, one of the guys on the team had a kind of a sticker graphic design, and it's a picture that based on a picture that was taken of him on our ball team, and with his baseball nickname. And so that's what I've got kind of been hanging up behind me here. So I wanted to pay a little tribute to that as well. So
the fact that he, after his diagnosis, he went immediately to write a book to benefit other people says a lot about him.
Oh yeah, it really does. And it's a cool book. It's a cool read.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that because he's my friend. It was a really cool book, but you can find it. Glad to Be Here. It's in the News Talk STL book club. So look at newstalkstl.com, news and more, drop down and just find book club and then just find Glad to Be There. I think I looked it up on Amazon. It's literally like $10 right now.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting. And we had him on in December talking about that. And so that's in the podcast as well. Okay. That's the end of my point of personal privilege here.
Deserved.
Just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so the WNBA.
Oh yeah. Okay, and now we take a different turn,
which gets it should get a laugh at all times anyway.
Yes. When you just saying the term WNBA.
WNBA. I guess they had their all-star stuff this weekend.
Yes,
and it's funny because sports media and mainstream media, they are trying so hard to make the WNBA a like major sports thing. Remember, they were trying to do that with the Women's World Cup as well.
Oh, yeah, the soccer thing. Yeah.
The soccer thing. And the World...
Megan Rapinoe.
Right. The World Cup, the real World Cup.
Yes.
And you're saying, what? Are you saying the Women's World Cup isn't the real one? Yes, that's what I'm saying. The real World Cup is the single largest sports event in the world. It is bigger than the Olympics.
Yes.
And so the fact that some of the World Cup is coming to Missouri next year, basically Arrowhead Stadium, that's going to be a big deal.
To put it into context, for example, the 2022 Cup, it estimated that it made a profit of $17 billion.
Yeah, it's bigger than the Olympics. Typically loses money for the city that hosts it, believe it or not.
Yes. All the things that they build, all the facilities that they build, which usually kind of go into disrepair afterwards. Most of them.
Can't look at Barcelona right now. It's a mess.
They usually lose money on this thing.
Yeah.
But World Cup, $17 billion.
Yeah. Huge. Just huge. And with the Women's World Cup, the media kept trying to get the entire country behind this group of left-wing activists. And Megan Rapinoe is just one of the least likable public figures you're ever going to see on your television screen. And they're trying to do this with the WNBA. So they had all their all-star stuff, which if it weren't for the players acting stupid, it wouldn't have made it into most people's social media feeds. I wouldn't have even known that they were having an all-star or anything. I didn't know they had enough good players to have an all-star anything. Because I've seen some clips of the WNBA games and they're really bad.
Yeah.
I mean, for instance, what was it regarding, let me go back to women's soccer. Just a week or two ago, one of the top 20 or top 25 ranked women's teams in the world got beat by like a 14 and under boys team.
Yeah. No, I think that actual game was played a couple years back, but still.
No, the U.S. got beat by an under 16
that's right.
team.
There was a different one.
That was a different one.
That's
this was
right.
like Sweden or somebody.
Oh, you're
right.
Because they do these little exhibition games. And
right.
It's
they
supposed
call
to be
them friendlies.
Little good-natured little thing.
Right. And just warm up. And teenage boys typically beat world-ranked women's teams.
Yeah.
It's almost as though there's a difference between men and women biologically.
That's crazy.
You can imagine that.
I don't know.
And so here's the thing with the WNBA. All of the players in the warm-ups were wearing these T-shirts that said, "Pay us what you owe us." So they're basically, and many of the players have said when they go into their collective bargaining agreement talks, which apparently are coming soon, they're demanding, they haven't said the words equal pay, but they're demanding more pay because they say, look at what the NBA is making and we make such a tiny percentage of that. It's not fair. One of the players named Angel Reese, and I've heard that name before. Apparently she's like the anti Caitlin Clark and they hate each other or whatever.
Yeah. There's
whatever the mean
bit
girl,
of a rivalry there.
whatever the Mean Girls basketball thing is.
Yep.
She's actually quoted in an interview with a CBS saying, at this point, we deserve NBA money, which is so beyond stupid. The WNBA is subsidized by the NBA. So basically, if it weren't for the successful men being the providers,
Yeah.
the women wouldn't have their club to go play ball in. The WNBA still loses about $40 million a year, and they've lost tens of millions of dollars every year. They've never even broken even.
Yeah. So if you gave them what they deserved, it would be a bill.
Right.
It's like, all right. It's like your percentage owed for this $4 million or $40 million shortfall is this.
You know how many people attended and watched my baseball game last night? 8. That's why we don't sell tickets. It's free to see us play.
Right. Are you telling me, Mike, that you don't go out on the field during warm-ups with a shirt that says pay us what you owe us?
Because it cost me money to play in this league.
Okay.
And that's one of the ways that we keep it going. And honestly, the WNBA it's basically glorified amateur sports, because this is a product that almost nobody wants.
Right.
Now, whatever arena they were in, looks like they had a decent crowd just from the news clips I saw. I was watching like the sports center, whatever. I was over at a sports bar on Saturday night. And they were showing some clips of it. But the reality is that I think we all know that if you took I don't even know who has teams or where they are. I couldn't tell you any in WNBA teams.
Mm-hmm.
But if you took them against an average medium-sized high school boys team,
oh yeah, they take them.
The boys team would slaughter them.
Oh yeah,
on the court.
Absolutely.
I mean, it wouldn't even be close.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And everybody knows it.
Yeah,
everybody knows it.
It's funny you mention that, because there is an actual video of a professional female soccer team that faced off against a high school boys team.
Yeah.
And the female professional team lost 8-0 to the high school.
It was 8-0.
It was 8. Yeah. Now,
8-0.
is that the U.S. team, or was that the one a couple weeks ago?
I don't watch soccer. I don't know.
I was saying, it's like, I don't know.
But yeah, because
it happens pretty much every year.
Right. And then they really don't want those games kind of open to the public.
Oh,
Those are
no,
practice games, because they kind of know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
And so the WNBA players they're being portrayed by the media as these heroines who are standing up for their rights, and they deserve it because it's time for women's sports to be. The market is spoken. They don't want it. If you didn't have that subsidy, if this were not a virtue signal by the NBA and by, frankly, the media, the market has said we don't want this. Anybody with any business sense would have shut down the WNBA years ago. Because why would you continue? And they're talking about expansion, apparently. It's like, why would you expand something that loses money every year? That makes no sense.
All right. So I looked up a couple things. Now, first of all, in the NBA, because of their collective bargaining agreement, the players are guaranteed some like 45% or 49 to 51% of basketball related income, BRI, under the current collective bargaining agreement. So that's why, when the NBA generates their typical 2.6 billion annual revenues
for the WNBA.
No, for the NBA.
Oh, for the NBA.
Yeah. So then when the players make millions of dollars a year, that's because it's of a really big pie. They're taking their slice of a really big pie according to their bargaining agreement. Now, the WNBA has average annual losses of $10 million a year for the last 28 years of its existence. So that's a problem.
And they lost 40 million last year.
Yeah, just last year.
The arrows aren't going the direction they want them to go.
It jumped to approximately 40 to 50 million in 2024, driven by increased expenses such as charter flights, salaries, and player benefits. So they're already, the player benefits have already increased as of 2024, and they're already costing the league more money.
And they're already complaining and demanding more. 101 straight up says Angel Reese is the Jasmine Crockett of the WNBA.
It's funny because it's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I've only seen clips. I have never actually watched a game. So
Well, I mean, it's the biggest thing to me is that Angel Reese's massive rebound stats are padded by the fact that she catches her own rebounds from missing shots continuously directly under the basket. So there's that.
Wow. All right. The one and only Tony Kinnett going to be with us here in just a couple of minutes. Let's get his take on Tulsi Gabbard's, hitting hard against the former Obama administration, using words like seditious and coup and conspiracy. We're going to get Tony's take on that just ahead.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
Rapid weather changes today as we shift from pockets of rain, thunderstorms, localized flooding through mid-morning to quieter weather midday into the afternoon. But the shift to drier weather means the return of heat and humidity. 92 this afternoon under partly sunny skies. Just a slight chance of an isolated storm this afternoon. Muggy tonight down to 77. Hotter tomorrow, 95 with the heat index between 105 and 110 on Tuesday. From the First Alert 4 Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Matt Chambers.
Fox News commentary.
The Late Show and Colbert are canceled, and yet showbiz elites still can't figure out why. I'm Tommy Lahren. More next.
I'm alpine skier Michaela Schifrin. I've won the most World Cup ski races in history. But what does success mean to me? Success means discipline. It's teamwork. It's the drive and passion inside of us, and it's why Stifel is one of the fastest growing global wealth management firms in the country. If you're looking for success, surround yourself with the people who will get you there. If you're an advisor or investor, choose Stifel, where success meets success.
Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Past performance is no indication of future results. Investing involves risk. Consult a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.
Show with Stephen Colbert will be off your TV screen come May 2026. That's probably years too late. The show is reportedly being canceled for financial reasons. Some insiders suggesting while it's been losing more than $40 million a year, the show sustained a budget over $100 million per season. But still, some critics allege Colbert's show is being axed for purely political reasons due to the failed comedian's advanced case of Trump derangement syndrome. And guess what? Maybe those critics aren't wrong. The cancellation is a bit political, but not for the reasons they allege. The show is hemorrhaging viewers and ratings because, in case these hacks haven't caught on yet, everyday American viewers are sick and tired of these overpaid, unfunny show hosts making fun of our president, our way of life, our American values on a nightly basis and passing it off as entertainment. So yeah, the cancellation is likely both financial and political. I'm Tommy Lahren, and you can watch my show, Tommy Lahren is Fearless, at Outkick.com.
Life's legal challenges deserve experienced representation. For over 15 years, Cole Combs Attorney at Law has been serving St. Charles and surrounding counties with comprehensive legal expertise. From tax preparation and estate planning to family law and criminal defense, Cole delivers personalized solutions for your unique situation. We have traffic tickets, need a business formation, real estate matters, one call will handle it all. Cole O. Combs Attorney at Law. Call 636-949-0010, extension 3 today, or visit colecombs-law.com.
Taste the difference that fresh local makes. Anthony's Produce supports our local farmers by bringing you the finest locally grown produce in town. From the juiciest peaches and melons to the sweetest corn and ripest tomatoes, we've got it all. Plus, discover our amazing selection of locally made jams, salsas, pickles, and fresh sourdough breads. Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 7 to 6:30, and Sundays, 8 to 5. 701 Jungerman Road in St. Peters, or visit anthonysproduce.com.
Why leave your company's story to chance? In today's digital world, video content isn't just an option. It's essential for your success. At Blue Ocean Media Group, we've spent decades crafting compelling visual stories for businesses just like yours. From concept to completion, our award-winning team transforms your vision into powerful video content that connects with your audience and drives results. Don't trust your brand to amateurs. Partner with Blue Ocean Media Group. Visit blueoceanmediagroup.com today, and let's bring your story to life.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hey, this is Todd Showalter. Join me on Saturday at 5 as I try to put some fun back into this dysfunctional radio station. It's the Right Mind Show with me, Todd Showalter, at 5 on Saturday. And, you know, speaking of dysfunctional, let's get back to Mike Ferguson in the morning.
All right, we've known since day one that the Russian collusion hoax was a hoax. I think if the left were honest with themselves, they would admit that as well. Kind of the precursor to all of the lawfare and misinformation and disinformation and all that kind of crap that we dealt with over the years. Well, now Tulsi Gabbard says, I've investigated using her position as director of national intelligence to say not only was it a hoax, but it was also a conspiracy. And she's using words like coup and sedition. She's using very, very heavy words from a legal perspective. It is 8:36 right now. We're now joined by Tony Kinnett from the Daily Signal and the Tony Kinnett Show podcast as well. And so, Tony, I got to tell you, I didn't see this when I left work on Friday. I didn't see this coming. Was, basically saying Barack Obama should be investigated and prosecuted by Tulsi Gabbard. Now, I'm not going to hold out much hope that Barack Obama is going to end up with a mugshot like Donald Trump has. But what do you make of this announcement by Tulsi Gabbard from the Trump administration saying that not only was it a hoax, but it was a coordinated, planned, and it was, in her words, a years-long coup against Donald Trump?
So first of all, you lucky jerks getting to go off of the air and leave work on a beautiful Friday evening. We don't. We go live at 7 Eastern. So I have the genuine pain of hopping on, basically reading through this story as quick as possible. And I'm going to tell a little secret. I probably shouldn't. This story has always been one that I didn't spend a ton of time on because I just assumed, yeah, this is really shady. So I don't really need to know every detail because there's a lot of colleagues of mine who know everything about this. So I'm cramming Spark Notes and everything else. I mean, I'm like sleeping with the tapes under my pillow, trying to get all of this in my head. And it is truly, this dwarfs Watergate.
Yeah.
There is no question here for a president of the United States, not only to order essentially an intelligence campaign against an American citizen. Not only is this sedition against the entire U.S. federal government, but it is also one of the weirdest, arrogant, flamboyant disregards to federal law. He was canceling. Margot Cleveland made this point from the release files over the weekend. He was canceling presidential daily briefings that were supposed to happen days later, he being Obama, so that he could put forward this insanely weird conspiracy based on the Steele dossier they knew was false. So there's an element here that we've never actually seen, like a from the top down perjury as well, which is essentially the kind of motive that you need to prove sedition and often treason and conspiracy, things like this. So it's pretty nuts to see this entire thing happen. But Tulsi Gabbard is coming at this with a rusty kitchen knife, as well she should. And I got to say, if the DOJ wanted a just dinner plate right in front of you, served up, here you go, it's time for some indictments, they could not have asked for a more made to order. It's not delivery, it's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah. And then what now is the pressure on the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi? I mean, obviously, I like you. I mean, when this happened at the time, I just kind of rolled my eyes and I went, well, anybody with more than a couple brain cells to rub together knows that this is nonsense.
So not Jasmine Crockett, but the rest of us.
No, not her. No, I didn't think so. But everybody else, even those who were, arguing in favor, it probably, if you got them drunk enough and got their actual opinion, they're like, yeah, I know it's BS, but we knew that. So now Pam Bondi's got this. You can't discount the politics of it as well. What's the right thing for her to do? And then the bigger question is, what's likely to happen?
So I actually believe that these two are most likely in line here. One of the very rare moments in political news and framework where we actually get to see the two things being in the same sky. Likely you're going to see Brennan and Comey indicted over this. I mean that. I think Comey and Brennan, because they're, again, for Obama, he can go, well, look here, I was busy watching basketball in Syria and thinking about all the ways I could talk to my husband, wife. But in the meantime, I mean, like, probably not actually going to see Obama. Should he be? I mean, yeah, if Comey and Brennan come in and they give him the old middle finger in the legal sense and say we were ordered to do it, well, yeah, then Obama's looking at the very, very least a fun little trial in front of the American people. But as far as what's likely going to happen, yeah, Comey and Brennan are going to find their ways in front of Congress.
So we're talking about a sacrificial lamb being thrown under the bus to protect the Obama legacy.
I'll say that Brennan and Comey were definitely very eager and happy to be complicit in this. There's no Obama ordered them, and so they did. It clearly, if they were willing to give Hillary Clinton's Steele dossier, because remember, the Clinton campaign funded the Steele dossier openly. No longer is that being fact checked by PolitiFact. I think you're also going to see Durham from the Durham Report get called in. They have pushed and poked all the members of the Oversight Committee and the Judiciary again and again and again. And I said this on this show, that when they pushed Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett far enough, they would eventually start slinging out 6-3 decisions that really pissed the left off. And now here we are essentially getting ready for the same thing, but from the congressional side. I do believe that you're going to see this. And if the Democrats think that they're going to be able to hide behind the Epstein circus with this, they are really in for something else, because this will grip the news cycle. And I still don't think that the Jake Tapper, Alex Thompson crew with Original Sin and Biden have enough stamina to help the Democrats kind of whistle past the graveyard on this. They're a little screwed here.
Yeah, let's talk about the bigger picture. We're visiting with Tony Kinnett, and you got to check out his podcast, Tony Kinnett Podcast, in addition to his work on Daily Signal as soon as you get a chance here. So let's talk about the bigger picture. I mean, yes, there's the us versus them aspect of this, and obviously Donald Trump's been the target of that, in so many different ways. But is there a bigger picture to say we're not going to allow this in the country? We're going to rebuild some lanes here to keep the politicians in. That means going after the high profile people who did this sort of thing. I mean, is there a longer term, hey, both sides, you're not going to do this down the road?
No.
Okay.
No, there's not. There's not. Because first of all, the Trump administration is, as much as I love some of the work they've done in the last 6 months, most of the work they've done in the last 6 months, Pam Bondi's office has been a communications and an optics disappointment. They did not roll things out correctly. They brought the influencers and gave them the binders that had nothing. And I'm sorry, in this modern day and age, campaigns and optics matter just as much as do the governance itself, because we have to rebuild institutional trust. And instead, institutional trust has really just continued to erode. And there is really no both sidesism to a lot of this. Though the libertarians will pearl clutch and go, well, actually, both sides are just as bad as the other. No, they're not. Nope. Sorry. That's not the case. And there is no incentive for Americans to rebuild institutional trust because there is no universally agreed upon outside threat. That's what rebuilds institutions. You need to be able to look at something from across the pond or from outside the borders and say, this is a universal bad. The two political spheres in this country cannot agree on what those are. And so if the unfortunate side of this is you're actually going to have to see legitimate action against the United States from outside sources that cause real harm to Americans before you see the supermajority, a 2/3, agree on what an institution needs to do. And until then, there's no political party that's going to be able to do it. And as much as my doppelganger, J.D. Vance, is going to come in and continue a lot of the same things that Trump is going to, which at this point is what's going to happen, I just don't think that I see anything realistic that's going to rebuild institutional trust. I mean, Republicans may love it, independents may approve of it, but if you think that Jen Rubin is one day going to see the light and take off her Wicked Witch of the West hat and come out and smile in the sunshine, that ain't going to happen.
I've got a follow-up question regarding the media and optics here, but I want to compliment you on the impression of the typical libertarian. Having been a former member of the Libertarian Party, I've been I've been to state conventions.
Oh, you've been to conventions? Yes, oh, good Lord.
I'm talking about the big ones. I'm talking about the ones in the corner table at Denny's. So the big ones. But that impression was basically you will see a guy or hear a guy do exactly that. Every time.
Oh yeah, like a driver's licenses or the spawn of the state, and the age of consent is some kind of a conspiracy. And again, as I've said before, there are two kinds of libertarians. There are serious libertarians who are basically in the Republican Party, and they are working to make it less awful, which is the best possible endeavor. The best. And I'm a guy who manufactures questionably legal firearms. So,
and I
just
applaud
to make
you
it
for
clear,
that, by the way.
where I said the Sten Mark II is one of the best things ever created. But aside from that, the other unserious kind of libertarian disconnects from the political reality because they're not a big boy who can't see that, unfortunately, politics is awful, and there's a difference between a New York Republican and a Tennessee or a Missouri Republican. That's just a big difference in society that some aren't willing to come to grips with.
Let's talk about some of the losses the left is taking in media right now. It's kind of interesting to me. Colbert gets the news that his show's being canceled. He's had a long run on that show on CBS by any national standard. That's a success, being on the air that long. But everybody is acting as though the state just came in and censored their view, and we're never going to hear a left wing doing comedy ever again. This is such a bizarre take on reality. When, he put himself in that position, but the reality is the market just doesn't want you anymore. It's just a market thing, and you put yourself in that position.
Well, I mean, there's not really a lot of evidence that suggests that they wanted him to begin with. And I will say this, by the way, producer Jerome is correct. Pale Rider with Clint Eastwood is a fantastic movie. One of the best. I love his spaghetti Western. So sorry, putting aside that I can't stop reading the comments. As far as Stephen Colbert is concerned, there was a lot of backlash when they brought him over from Comedy Central to take up after David Letterman, because David Letterman, shout out to Ball State University, and one of the only times in history we will shout out Ball State University in Indiana. David Letterman was a talent in and of himself that did, in fact, rival Johnny Carson. That's why he was given the job, was to rival Carson. It didn't work, but he was given the job for that reason. And Colbert came on afterwards to be CBS' new political foil because the HR Karens decided what we really need is an unsufferable liberal soy-drinking male who occasionally talks about smart things to come on the air. And so he stopped talking about smart things. For example, Colbert knew a lot about reading Tolkien. He actually read the classics. He was classically intelligent. And he threw all of that aside for Trump derangement syndrome. And then he proceeded to be wrong repeatedly for the next 4, 5, 6 years. And now he is costing the network $40 million in net loss a year. Now, look, I like us. I like consider maybe we're not the most mediocre radio guys on the air. At least I pray certainly not. But if we cost our networks $4 million a year, we would be canned so fast, you wouldn't even be able to see the imprint of our butts on the chair cushion. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. So, and then the meltdown that the other, like Jimmy Kimmels of the world and all the others, they're acting like this is a giant conspiracy to silence them. I'm going, are you got a shortage of leftist media out there? Is this hurting your cause that bad?
And this is the classic idea here. And this is something that Jen Psaki admitted to Jon Stewart right after the election, that Democrats, they don't amplify each other. You'll never see Joy Reid on with the Young Turks. You'll never see the crew from MSNBC on with CNN. It doesn't happen because they silo and they all say the same thing. Right-leaning guests, we have each other on each other's shows all the time because we value building ideas together. We argue with each other. Right now, I've said it before, there are two political parties in the country. There's the moderate Republican Party, and there's the more populist Republican Party, and traditional conservatives and the libertarians are in the middle crying about everything. I'm one of the traditional conservatives. And so in the meantime, you have the left who isn't serious. No one takes them seriously. They all repeat each other ad nauseum, and they're a dying corporate like trust fund child. They still have money and they can still put on events, but no one really cares. They cringe when they get up on stage, and they make the Coldplay meme joke on CNN with Jake Tapper, and everyone just on the inside dies a little bit. But you know, when you get Ted Cruz and then some guy from the populist side of the aisle up in front and they argue, everyone listens because you and I both know that the future of the country is going to go in one of those two directions. Whenever Joy Reid gets on stage, you know, you have diarrhea.
Yeah.
Thanks for making that my hanging word, man.
I know.
I appreciate that.
I was like, that's, I mean, and the weird part is that the mental visual you put in there, I'm like, I get that. And I'm a little scarred now, but you're right.
Isn't it depressing though? I mean, I'll say this. I am incredibly optimistic because at the root of all of this, and I talked about this with some really great other people in our general sphere. I'm optimistic because I can sit down and have a conversation with someone who listens to Tucker Carlson, and then someone who listens to Ben Shapiro, and then someone who listens to the Fox News Daily Run or the Newsmax Daily Run, or someone who listens to the ruthless kind of the more establishment side of the Republican Party. And I am optimistic that they can find a solution or at least compromise and put the party in a better place, which means the end goal of leaving me the hell alone, right? Because that's the goal of politics, right? Is that the government runs well enough so that I can give it the attention that it needs and then go back to my wife, my kids, my family, my local community, my local church. God knows the guys that I like to go shooting with. That kind of a thing matters to me. But right now, it's going to require a lot of people pitching in and taking politics seriously over the long term, instead of just, oh, it's presidential election time for me to binge politics like a sad, overdrawn Netflix special.
All right, Tony Kinnett, of course, you can see his work at the Daily Signal, and we find the Tony Kinnett podcast where, because this thing's growing like crazy, man. Congratulations on the success of that.
Well, thank you very much. So you can find us over on dailysignal.com. You can find us on YouTube, Rumble, X. We're thrilled to join you guys whenever we can. 7 p.m. Eastern every single weeknight if I don't die of depression and lack of sleep first.
We're here for you. We're here for you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tony. We'll talk to you again soon, man. Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
All right. 314-912-1019. I love the description of the two different versions of the right, and then those of us who are the more, traditional conservatives, because Tony and I are kind of in that same spot. I mean, the ones who, have read the Kirk and all those guys and Sowell and all of them, we're in there going, hey, wait a minute. These principles work to maximize freedom and human flourishing. Let's do that. And then you got the crossfire of the other kinds.
Yeah, and our audience absolutely loves his commentary. So if there's a way we can get him to join us for more Mondays.
We can do that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Connor Roofing. You can count on Connor. Connor Roofing is now a 2-time winner of the National Best of the Best Award for customer satisfaction for roofing, storm damage restoration, siding, gutters, both residential and commercial. Please visit ConnorRoofing.com for an estimate. And remember, you can count on Connor.
Someone had a birthday.
Yep, 50. Can't believe it.
50 years of wisdom.
Great segue. We have health news, a CDC update.
Pneumococcal vaccination is now recommended for adults 50 or older. Says here, we're over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia than adults under 50.
I don't love those odds.
Same. Look what I found. Pfizer's Prevnar 20 is proven to help protect adults against pneumococcal pneumonia and invasive pneumococcal disease in just 1 dose. And millions have already gotten it.
Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you have a severe allergy to its ingredients. A weakened immune system may lower your response. Common side effects include injection site pain and swelling, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138. Visit Prevnar20.com or talk to your doctor or pharmacist.
I'm on Prevnar20.com now, scheduling my appointment.
Good idea. And happy 50th.
The Wall That Heals comes to St. Louis County July 24th through 27th at Jefferson Barracks Historic Site. This traveling replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial has brought healing to nearly 800 communities nationwide. Join us as the Vic Percelli Show broadcasts live from the Wall Thursday, July 24th from 9 till noon. Made possible by Best Buy Flooring, Patriot Heating and Cooling, and DG Firearms.
Colombo and Company.
On Monday, we'll get you caught up on all the important news to start your week with Virginia Cruda from the Daily Wire, plus Paul Kurtman with a market update, and AI expert Mike McClary.
Live and local weekdays at 2 on NewsTalkSTL.
The perfect body, the perfect face. It's like God's best work, all in one place. From the haters, ain't perfection. Can't you say it's a burden being wonderful like me?
I always love it when Tony's on. We need to do this more often.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He was funny when he made the comment about the libertarians pearl clutching, and it was so funny because I'm like, I know that guy. He's doing the impression of, because I was a member of the Libertarian Party for quite some time. And, and I was a nominee and I was the weird nominee for office because I talked about fiscal and economic and regulatory things. I talked about the real stuff. And basically I wasn't talking about sex and guns and all that kind of stuff. And although I was very clear about my Second Amendment stance, and it's like, you know what, there are some people in the small L libertarian movement who have great ideas, who understand, the Constitution and we could benefit a lot, but they get overwhelmed by the crazy people who would otherwise not be listened to in any other political sphere. But the libertarians are so small that they can find a place to get in there. And you know what? You can get converted and say, I want to bring my anarchism here. And within a couple months, you're the chair of a county committee because there's nobody else to do it.
Yeah, and the shameful thing right now, and I'm not suggesting this by any means, but with what's going on between President Trump and Thomas Massey, leading people, they could have one of the best opportunities to actually see a flood of new support, but their official stance on the border and illegal immigrants and stuff like that is it's holding them back now. So it's like they always find a way to trip themselves near the finish line.
Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And this is one of the frustrations of the tribalism that we have, because there are times in politics you got to stick with your tribe.
Yeah.
And then there are other times where you don't want your tribe to dictate something to you because you have your principles.
Mm-hmm.
And then when somebody sticks to their principles, think Thomas Massey, think Rand Paul, think, people like that. then they get ostracized by the less principled people.
Yeah.
And then we lose the principled people who are supposed to be the anchors for the entire movement. So that's the frustrating part. I have not been involved in libertarian stuff, and I don't know how long, decades now at this point. But you also look at movements like, I know at one point there was a movement called the Republican Liberty Caucus, which basically was trying to appeal to Republicans to get involved in libertarians to get involved in the Republican Party to steer it in a more libertarian direction. That's the smart way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know that they're particularly influential at the moment, but that's the sort of thing. We need more Thomas Masseys elected. You know, before that, Justin Amash's, you know, or Rand Paul's, you know, before that, Ron Paul's, you know, I mean, we need more of that to steer the Republican Party in that freedom-based free market sort of approach.
Thank you.